Hi. We're just gonna not do the announcements but today because I'm already mildly annoyed the fact that everything just keeps exploding today. So we're just gonna jump right into this. I don't know how to fix this. The chat thing will be up there in a second, and I'm pretty sure I have to keep the stupid the cute little Pokemon off the screen because it usually breaks the stream. I don't know why. And so we're gonna do this. Let me put on some mildly appropriate music, which is Kingdom Hearts. Let's do Dearly Beloved. Dearly Beloved, if you don't know, is the main theme, quote unquote, to Kingdom Hearts. Actually, hold on. Let's use the other scene for this. We're gonna use the big screen. We're gonna use the big screen today. Ooh, fancy. All right, let me figure out how to pull up Clip Studio Paint on this. Ah, wow, look at that. It's already there. Just gotta make it big and actually align it with the screen. Ah, there we go. Look at that. Look how good I am at being a streamer. Let me make this fit the screen. Perfect. And let me turn on Dearly Beloved Kingdom Hearts 1 version. All right. Let me pour myself my drink today because I can't believe we're doing this. I don't know why my PC does not like having this art tablet when I'm streaming. I'm starting to get to the point where I might consider using a second PC for streaming. I have a second PC sitting around that's not being used. It was a gift for someone that they never ended up using it, so I'm like, I know it's got like a 1050 Ti in there, and I might just offload the stream encoding, like all the OBS stuff to that, but that's gonna be a massive pain, and I don't really want to do that right now, so we'll worry about that later. Okay, let me drink. So today I'm drinking this umeshu that I haven't finished yet, so we're gonna chug this, and when I finish this bottle, I'm gonna crack open another one because honestly, no one truly can understand the Kingdom Hearts esoteric lore, because this thing is probably like I love Kingdom Hearts. It is a wonderful franchise, but it is probably one of the most obtuse plot lines in gaming, and part of that is because it is filled with years and years worth of retcons. Okay, so before we begin, let me just give you a really quick summary. Okay, but anyways, how are all of you doing today? Before I do that, hi, I know we skipped the announcements. Congrats to Ray for being first, and technically Alana for being first the second time, and also hello Greywin and Xanth and Zoingo and Airman Joker and Hayashi, and obviously Alana and Sun and Goldenrod and Ray and Kahila and Zio Poser, yeah, and Kefir. Okay, yeah, so real quick show of hands, who here has actually played Kingdom Hearts? Like, legitimately, who's played Kingdom Hearts before? Also, holy cow, that is a really crunchy version of Dearly Beloved. Okay. Okay, so Kahila, Xanth has played it. I assume Fear's probably played it at some point. Zoingo and Airman have not really played it. Okay. You're gonna be in for a treat, because this is probably one of the most ridiculous franchises of all time, okay? Need to tell you something first and foremost. This franchise is nearly 25 fucking years old. Okay, so let me just we're gonna start real quick. I'm just gonna give you an overview of the games. Okay, we're gonna explain to you the order of the games. Okay, and it'll be great. You just played 1 and 2. I mean, those are good games though. 1 and 2 is really good. All right. Also, my drink of choice today is umeshu, which is similar to, it's the exact same thing I drink every time I do those MRE streams or any food stream, because it's like sweet, it's fruity, you barely taste the alcohol, and I usually dilute it with a ton of ice because I'm weak and I don't like the taste of alcohol, but I like the taste of umeshu, so that's kind of why that's what I drink most of the time. Okay, anyways, let's get started. It is franchise, but it is a very wacky franchise. Okay, so let me just go real quick. So essentially, the first thing to keep in mind is that game 1, which oh, dang it. Hold on, I gotta change the, for whatever reason, my tablet thing, every time my PC restarts, it assumes I want to draw on the big screen and not the actual tablet. Okay, so, essentially, the game was first with Kingdom Hearts 1. That's right. So, obviously, you're gonna start with Kingdom Hearts 1. Ooh, actually, let's, hold on. Where's my controller thingy? What did I use? I think it's like Joy to key. Hold on. What did I do for this? I think I set this to X inputs, so that was X plus power. Hold on. Hopefully this works. Okay, fantastic. Okay. Yes, Kingdom Hearts 1 is actually the middle of the franchise, and I wish I was joking, but the way I'm gonna explain this is I'm gonna explain to you the general timeline, and then I'm gonna explain the games from release order, because that's the order that I think people should play this franchise in. If you ever choose to play this, I do not ever recommend playing this in chronological order, because the gameplay changes so much between each of them, and a lot of them just don't really flow well into each other. And it's better, I think, to experience it in the way that everyone else who played the franchise got to play it. So that's why I'm always of the opinion that Kingdom Hearts 1, which is the first game, came out in 2002, which means it's pretty old at this point, but it was just normally called Kingdom Hearts. And this was, for whatever reason, a collaboration with Square Enix and Disney. Although I believe it wasn't Square Enix at the time, they were called Squaresoft. So it was a Squaresoft and Disney collaboration. For all intents and purposes, Disney is the one that actually owns the franchise, and Square Enix is the one that produces the games. This franchise is, let me pull up a photo of him, is what's it called? This franchise is the brainchild of a man named Tetsuya Nomura, who, if I can find a nice photo of him, I guess this is one from like however long ago. He looks like this man, because this is this man. This is an older photo of him. This man is basically responsible for Final Fantasy. He is basically responsible for Final Fantasy VII character design, and was the director for Final Fantasy VII's remake series. And on top of that, he was basically the director for Final Fantasy, what's what I'm thinking of, 15 and Kingdom Hearts was his primary projects. So he's got a long storied history of the wacky things that he's been working on, but Kingdom Hearts is essentially his brainchild. Okay, this is his franchise. So the man who makes Final Fantasy VII is the same one who is responsible for Kingdom Hearts, and Kingdom Hearts is basically his primary thing that he's known for, I would say. He's done a lot of other character creation for other projects in... let's see, is there a Kingdom Hearts playlist that I can use? Hearts playlist. So, essentially, the games are very, very convoluted, and the best way to describe it is that the games essentially start with Kingdom Hearts 1, okay, and then you're gonna move into what's called Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories, which we call COM, Chain of Memories. Okay, so COM, Chain of Memories, is a game that was... Oh, let me actually tell you, these games were released on completely different systems every single time, and it'll drive you insane. Chain of Memories was released on the Game Boy Advance. Kingdom Hearts 1 was released on the PlayStation 2. And then Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories led into Kingdom Hearts 2, which was at the very least also released on the PS2, which was very, very nice of them. And then after that, we move into a metric ton of side games. After Kingdom Hearts 2, you had a game that came out called 358 or 358 over 2 days. I'm not even joking. I had to double check. This is the legitimate pronunciation for this. 358 over 2 days. And this was released on the Nintendo DS. Now, the problem, you might be wondering, why is it moving backwards there? Because technically, it is a game that is a sequel to Kingdom Hearts that runs in parallel with Chain of Memories. Okay? So these two games run at the same time on the timeline, and they both lead into Kingdom Hearts 2, but Kingdom Hearts 2 came out before 358 over 2 days, so technically you would play from Kingdom Hearts, the Chain of Memories, to Kingdom Hearts 2 to 358 over 2 days. And then Kingdom Hearts 2 leads into a different game called... And then after Kingdom Hearts 2, you basically had like a ton of side games that may or may not have been relevant, okay? Remember, we're not even at 3 yet. So after 2, you had my personal favorite, or one of my favorite ones was what we call Birth by Sleep. All these games have really obscure names, okay? No, it's not 179 days. It's literally called 358 over 2 days. And so the reason for this, I'll explain later, is because the story follows two main characters over the course of 358 days. And so it's 358 days, 358 days over two people's stories, or something like that is the name. Anyways, Birth by Sleep came out on the PlayStation Portable, which was a thing that existed, and I really enjoyed. Okay, after Birth by Sleep, So technically Birth by Sleep, if you don't know, is actually a prequel to the entire franchise, and so it actually takes place before Kingdom Hearts 1. In fact, some people sometimes call it like Kingdom Hearts 0 or Kingdom Hearts 0.5. After Kingdom Hearts... So that's why Birth by Sleep goes there. So after that, Kingdom Hearts 2 then leads into... let me just draw some arrows here so you understand. So Kingdom Hearts 2 then also leads into one game called or what we call Coded. Coded literally doesn't matter. That's all I'm gonna say. Coded just straight up doesn't matter. It is basically a random side game that came out for the DS. It was actually made on mobile phones before smartphones, and then it came out on the DS because they had to remake it, and no one cares, and the plot completely doesn't exist, and it's irrelevant. And then after Kingdom Hearts 2, you had another game, another proper sequel called Kingdom Hearts Dream Drop Distance. Dream Drop Distance might as well be Kingdom Hearts 3 because of how relevant it is to the plotline. However, it's not. It's its own separate game, and this game came out on the 3DS. Get it? 3Ds? Dream Drop Distance? That's why they called it Dream Drop Distance. Or Kingdom Hearts 2.5. Oh, trust me, we're gonna get there. And then, after Dream Drop Distance, then you had another game come out. And it was not Kingdom Hearts 3. In fact, it was even weirder. It was Kingdom Hearts 2.8. Kingdom Hearts 2.8 came out after Dream Drop Distance, okay? And Dream Drop Distance is probably a good... I would say it's a good game, but I'm a little more iffy on 2.8. 2.8, for all intents and purposes, is a midquel type game. So it essentially bridges the gap. Yeah, so it is called Kingdom Hearts 2.8. The full title is Kingdom Hearts 2.8: A Fragmentary Passage. And I wish I was joking when I say this, but this game essentially tries to bridge the gap between Birth by Sleep into Kingdom Hearts 3. Right? So Birth by Sleep leads technically straight into Kingdom Hearts 2.8, like this, which then leads you into Kingdom Hearts 3, okay? Which this one, these were PS4 and Xbone, but I'm just gonna use PlayStation because that's what I know, PS4. So that's essentially the main game plot line, except it's not. So what they actually did also come out with was there's additional games that came out that take place before these, and these are what we call, for the most part, I'm just gonna unify them into one game called Union Cross, I guess is the best way to describe it. And this is a supposed prequel to the entire franchise that explains the entire Keyblade War, a term that you, dear comrade, are not yet aware of, and you have no idea what the heck a Keyblade War is or what a Keyblade is. But trust me, it will be relevant. So this game essentially is a prequel to everything else, and this game was strictly released on mobile phones. It was a mobile game. Okay? With a very cutesy art style. Okay, so that's essentially the timeline for the games. Trust me, it gets worse than this. Yeah, it gets way, way worse than this, honestly. By the way, this game has fantastic musics, and honestly, this is basically anime Dark Souls is what I like to call it. It's a lot of fun, and it's probably one of my favorite franchises to sometimes go back and play through all the time, so I highly recommend giving it a shot. But anyways, that's the core thing. So we're gonna get through this from start to end, and I will explain everything. But before we begin, there is a few terms you need to know. There's a few terms you should probably know. First, we're gonna talk about is Keyblades. Okay, so Keyblades are those funny little sword things that the main characters use. Okay, it basically looks like a giant key. Okay, it is both a metaphorical and a physical key in the sense that it is shaped like a key. It can open and close. It can open locks and seal locks, and it also is a sword that the main characters use to go beat up the bad guys. Okay, so Keyblades are very special, and you have to be like a Keyblade warrior to use them and go through some training and whatever. So that's really the main thing. Okay, term number 2 that you're gonna want to know: hearts. Oh, okay, so hearts are essentially for the most part, this is essentially your analog to a soul, okay? If you've played Deltarune or Undertale, this is essentially a character's soul. It's their identity, okay? Every character has a heart, but the heart could either be tainted with darkness or be filled with light. Unlike some franchises, in Kingdom Hearts, light and darkness are very well defined. Dark is evil, light is good, and so you have, you know, the forces of evil trying to corrupt the heart, you know, with ooh, evil, spooky, and then you have the forces of light trying to defeat the forces of evil and fill the heart with light. And so that's kind of the main shtick with this thing. It's kind of relevant. You'll be hearing, the one thing in Kingdom Hearts you'll hear a lot is the word heart, so just keep that in mind. Okay, so that's hearts. Okay, so the other thing you're gonna know is that, and I'll explain this a little bit more as we progress through this abominable stream. Okay, I'm not gonna lie. I'm surprised that so many people wanted to listen to me ramble on about Kingdom Hearts deep lore, because I don't even know how many of you even play this franchise. Oh my gosh, that's some good water. Okay. I'm sorry, it's not water. It's liquor. Okay. So, a few other terms you're gonna need to know real quick before we continue. You're gonna hear the word heartless a lot. Okay. So a heartless is essentially, what if a heart became so tainted with evil, okay, that it became its own thing? Let's see, what is the small guy called? So a heartless, if you don't know, it kind of looks like one of these little goobers. Okay, it looks like one of these goobers here. Okay, at least that's a variant of a heartless. It's not the definitive heartless, but it's one of the heartless variants. And essentially, what a heartless is, it's essentially a soul from, like, it's like your living manifestation of the darkness within your heart. Okay, it is literally your heart that has been made manifest with darkness. Okay. Okay, that's essentially, so despite being called a heartless, it is in fact made out of a heart. And I wish I was joking. The second monitor content, good. Good, keep me on your second monitor. Okay, so, yeah, this is called a heartless. Okay. Some people are intimidated by the lore. Well, hopefully this will give you a very succinct explanation. By succinct, I mean absolutely not. This is going to be terrible. Okay, however, when a person's heart becomes so filled with darkness that they create a heartless, another creature is formed. Okay, so it's not only that, right? So this is a darkened heart. What else becomes is this thing called a, it's called a nobody. I'm trying to find a photo of a nobody. I searched it up on Google and I just got pictures of the weird thing from that one movie. Okay, this is a nobody. Okay, it's essentially a body without a heart. Why are they using these terms in this order? I don't know, but this is essentially a nobody. It has no heart. It is just the body, a husk. So essentially, one way to think about this is that a nobody, no soul. So it doesn't have a sense of identity. It doesn't have a sense of self. And that's a very relevant plot point, I promise you. A heartless is essentially a heart that is filled with darkness, that they have no kindness left in their soul, and they become a creature, a living manifestation of darkness. It's basically a Shedinja. Exactly, it's like a Shedinja. And so, a nobody has no soul, it is the body. A heartless is the body that or is the heart without a body, but it's just the living manifestation of your darkness. However, and this is going to be relevant later, is when the main character, you know, when your main character, you know, Sora with his wacky, you know, big brown hair and his Keyblade of Justice, right? When he murks a heartless, and he murks the corresponding nobody, because remember, the heart splits into, you know, the person splits into both of these. When they get murked, they actually re-merge into the original person. Yay! And this person is called a somebody. So that's essentially the biggest terms that you're gonna need to know. There's a bunch of other enemies that show up, like the Dream Eaters and the what is it? What I can't remember what the shadow ones from Birth by Sleep are called. They were like the weird shadow. Like there's another creature that's basically emotions that take place in Birth by Sleep, but that's not relevant right now. Yeah, the Unverse. Thank you. Okay. So that's the key terminology you need to know. You need to know Keyblades, Hearts, Nobodies, Heartless, and then the rest of it don't really matter right now. Okay, so welcome to... Hold on, I'm gonna just do this real quick. I have these on a folder so I can like refer to these later. Okay, welcome to Kingdom Hearts 1. Okay, I can't believe I remember most of this, which is probably the most cursed bit about this. Kingdom Hearts 1 came out in 2002. And it stars our main cast, who's a bunch of little kids who are living on this wacky island that I cannot draw because I can't draw very well. And there's a bunch of trees and like a mountain thing in the background. I think there's a mountain and some other stuff here. This is like gonna be some top quality art here, by the way. Okay, and this island is called Destiny Islands. I need to point out there is a single island in Destiny Islands. And for whatever reason, this island is inhabited strictly by children. You do not meet any adult in this franchise until like partway through the game, and they're all Final Fantasy characters. Otherwise, everyone is just a child for some reason. Well, technically until you meet the real big bads. But essentially, Destiny Islands, named totally very much here to provide you, hey, something's gonna happen here. That's why it's called Destiny Islands. Is inhabited by 3 main characters. You got... Oh god, I'm gonna draw these really poorly. Islands. Okay, so you got 3 main characters. Okay, so you got Sora, who's got big brown hair and big goofy red shoes, like the, I don't know, like the big old, I don't know what you want to call these, but they're big funny shoes. And he is the happy-go-lucky protagonist. And then you've got, so oh wait, hold on. So yeah, this is Sora. And then you have Riku, who's basically, for lack of better words, an edgelord, and he's got this cool gray hair. And then you have Kairi, who is your for lack of better terms, the female protagonist of this franchise. And she is essentially a helpless damsel in distress 90% of the time. She is the female character that exists in this plot, and she is going to be relevant. Okay, so yeah, here's your main cast for the game 1. You got Sora, Riku, and Kairi. Let's see if I can find another music. Let's see, maybe this Kingdom Hearts relaxing OST is probably fine. Okay, so so essentially what happens is that, oh yeah, and the other thing too, for whatever reason, this island is also inhabited by 3 Final Fantasy characters in child form. I don't know why, but essentially there's a child version of Titus, Selphie, and Wakka on this island, like from Final Fantasy. Okay, like literally, here's Titus from Final Fantasy X. He's on this island for some reason, but he's a kid. You have Wakka from Final Fantasy X, who's also a kid, who's somehow on this island. And then you have Selphie from... I don't remember who this... I think she's from... I want to say it's 9. It's from 8, sorry. Yeah, she's from 8. And you got child Selphie here from 8 hanging around. It's very weird. So... that's essentially, but they're irrelevant. You basically will never see them ever again. I think you maybe see them once and then they just like never show up. Like I don't think Titus ever shows up after the first game. So anyways, you go beat up a few things, you do some race, you're trying to go hunt down, you're trying to beat Riku because you want to get this thing called like a papao fruit, and they say, hey, if 2 people share a papao fruit, they will, you know, their destinies will be intertwined together. And so I think I'm remembering correctly, I think you eventually do get a papao fruit, and you share it between Sora and Kairi, and they'll eat it together, and now their destinies are intertwined forever. Oh no! But you know what magically happens? Oh yeah, and then there's like at some point in this tutorial island, a mysterious like hooded figure. Okay, I don't know how to draw a hooded figure, but I guess we'll draw it like this. Yeah, okay, there we go. Yeah, a mysterious hooded figure shows up and basically talks to them, and he's just talks to these guys and like, the darkness, the island, the keys, the darkness. And Sora and Riku are just like, what in the world are you talking about, buddy? And then he disappears again, and that's essentially like the first 40 minutes of this plot line, which is great. And then the island, oh no, something bad is happening. I think a storm takes place, and so one of the other big plot points is in this early game is that Sora and Riku are trying to make a boat so they can get off the island and then go do their own adventure. But one of the problems is that there's no other place to live. So I'm not sure where these kids actually live. I think that it's shown that Destiny Island's actually off the coast of like some small town, which is fine, but it's not really relevant. So anyways, a big old evil darkness storm, starts to overrun the island and basically shunt everyone far, far away. And then Sora enters a dream sequence, well, kind of a dream sequence underwater. Basically, what's happening is Sora, I guess, ends up in the... Oh, shoot. Sora ends up in the water, and... Oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to... Drawing this over and over again is gonna be so annoying. The Sora is like falling in the water, and then eventually he's really under the water and all this stuff, and then he wakes up on this giant like weird glass platform that has got like, all this cool stained glass artwork and everything. It's super cool and super mysterious, and he fights a giant Heartless. So at some point, Mr. Sora here is gonna move over here, and he's gotta fight off the big creature called the Dark Side. And it's basically this gigantic... Hold on. Let's see. What's the best way to describe this thing? What about Sora's mom? Sora's a mom? I do not remember anything about Sora's mom ever appearing once in the plotline. Okay, so Sora has to fight this giant thing called a Heartless. He gets a Keyblade in this dream sequence, and he fights what we call Darkseid, which is this big, like, hulking beast. Okay, looks like this essentially. And then Sora's basically fighting him off with like a Keyblade, and you're gonna win this fight because it's not that hard, and it's in the plot demands that you win the fight. Okay, so yeah, this is, by the way, all the Heartless have like these spooky yellow eyes, so it's like this. They're also like a lot darker, so it'd be more like, it'd be like if I bucket filled it like this, like that. Yeah, it'd be something like this, kind of. Anyways, that's the main plot line, and then after you defeat the Dark Side and everything happens, then Sora gets yeeted far away, off to an adventure to parts unknown. Okay, and then for whatever reason he ends up in this really cool place called Traverse Town. And Traverse Town is basically like this random city with really cool jazz music, and it's supposedly the town where people traverse between worlds and all that stuff. So welcome to Traverse Town, because you're traversing between realms. Get it? Yeah, a lot of the names in this game, in this franchise, are very self-explanatory when you think about it, which is fine. It's just really silly. Is there any other music that's like more calming? Let's see. I do want to keep Kingdom Hearts music going. Let me drink my beverage. Okay. No, this is not a hub world, which is really funny. You're in this world for like an hour, and then you're out of here, and you basically will come back one more time for plot reasons, and then that's about it. So, welcome to Traverse Town. You got your main protagonist, Sora, who's like, whoa, where am I, bro? This is weird. It's crazy. And then for some reason, and I wish I was joking, he meets if I remember correctly, he meets some... I don't even know how to draw them, quite frankly. Let's see if I can draw them. He meets Aerith from Final Fantasy VII. Right? And she's got like her like red coat and everything. You meet Leon from Final Fantasy VIII with his like cool wicked gunblade thing. Just draw like a gun. Yeah, and then I think you meet Sid. Oh, I can't remember if it was you meet Sid at this point, but you do meet. Yeah, I'm not even joking. Aerith from the hit Final Fantasy game, Final Fantasy VII, is here. And then you meet Yuffie. That's the other one. You also meet Yuffie from Final Fantasy VII here for some weird reason. You know, like the ninja girl who's got like I don't know how to. I think she had like a green headband. I can't remember. But yeah, for whatever reason, all three of them are here because we have to have our Final Fantasy tie-in. So you have Leon, Aerith, and Yuffie. Anyways, you're kind of just told, hey, you're wandering around and you're trying to figure out what's going on while Sora's got his really cool Keyblade. Which, if you don't know, this Keyblade, every Keyblade has a name. His is called the Kingdom Key. It's his canonical weapon of choice. Okay, so after Yuffie, Leon, and Aerith get, yeeted out of the plot because they're not relevant anymore. We're just gonna delete them from this. Oops, we're gonna delete them from here. Sora runs into our deuteragonists. Leon not better to Vincent because they wanted to keep Cloud away. I guess that's also true too. Yeah, I guess that would make sense. I think they saved Cloud for something else anyways. Then you run into our other our deuteragonist. So I don't know how to draw a duck, but you have duck 1. Okay. So you run into Donald. Oh wait, no, I forgot. He technically has a big old wizard hat. Okay, so this is Donald. And then you also run into Goofy, who... I don't really know how to draw Goofy other than he's got like a big old nose. And this man is like a knight for whatever reason. I'm just gonna draw stick figures. He also has like a sword and shield. I think his entire... Oh, by the way, he doesn't use a sword at all. His entire weapon... His weapon is a shield. And it's emblazoned with like the Mickey Mouse logo, which I don't know. Well, that's fine. Good enough. Okay, so you got Donald. And you got Goofy. That's right. The famous wizard of all time, Donald Duck, who is canonically the strongest wizard in all of Square Enix. Which is incredibly cursed to think about. So anyways, these two, were sent on a quest to go find their king. Or to find the Keyblade wielder. Basically, their king, Mickey Mouse, is like, hey, I need you to go find the Keyblade wielder. Thanks, fam. And so they go around to Traverse Town and they run into Sora, who's like, whoa, that's kind of cool. And so they realize, oh, he's got the Keyblade, so we're gonna go help him out. And so that's essentially how they meet. Then they fight a Heartless called the Armor Heartless, who's basically just a floating knight helmet type thing, and he's got like floating arms. He looks like a Roblox character that's been like disjointed. And then you basically have to just defeat this thing, and then when he's dead, then all right, you're done. And then Sora uses the Keyblade to go shoot the heart of Traverse Town. Oh wait, no, that's later. Okay. Yeah, Donald's not gonna heal you. He kind of sucks at it. Okay, so that's essentially the plot of Traverse Town. Okay, and then you get what's called a gummy ship, which I'm just gonna pull out a photo of this thing because I am not gonna describe to you, and I will explain this. So you essentially get a gummy ship, which is your primary mode of transportation in the entire universe of Kingdom Hearts. Basically, it's how to navigate between worlds. You're kind of navigating through these, I guess, for lack of a better term, like wormholes that can only be traversed with a gummy ship. And it's called the gummy ship because the dang thing looks like... Hold on. I'm trying to organize these layers so I don't like lose track of them. What is this one? Hide this. Okay. Yeah, so essentially this thing looks like it looks like gummy candy, and that's why they're called gummy ships. I wish I was joking, but that's what a gummy ship looks like. You can customize them, make them look different. Usually when I was playing and I didn't really know how to design them, they started looking like giant bricks, and I just slapped on every weapon. The gummy ship mechanics get way more complicated the later games you get. Like, I think this is Kingdom Hearts 1. When you get to 3, they start looking like this. And a lot of the enemies you start running into become very, very silly looking. So anyways, that's the whole gimmick for that. But anyways, that's mostly irrelevant. Chip and Dale, not the weird club, but the characters from Disney, like the chipmunks, are the primary engineers of your gummy ship, and they are relevant for only that portion of the plot, and then they will never show up ever again. Okay. So, God, I don't have enough alcohol for this. Okay. So you essentially then, after this, then you get access to the world map. So you'll have a place like Traverse Town, which is kind of hanging around here, right? So this is the first world, essentially. Also, Destiny Islands actually shows up on the world map, I think, but it's kind of like cratered. It's like kind of split because it's been like destroyed by the darkness. So there's Destiny Islands. This is Traverse Town, and then you basically just go on a magical adventure through various Disney properties that are completely unrelated. Like, they're very not relevant to the plot line, but essentially throughout the entire story you're trying to save these princesses, right? So for example, from Traverse Town you can go to, I'm gonna call them by the properties. You have the Colosseum from Hercules, right? And then you have Alice in Wonderland, and then you can go to Tarzan, and then you end up at I think Agrabah, so you go to Aladdin, and then you go to Little Mermaid, and then you go from, I think, what was the other ones you go? I think there's God, I can't remember the exact map. It's been so long. I think after you also have Peter Pan. Oh, Halloween, that's right. Yeah, you have Nightmare Before Christmas, and you have Neverland, and then these will lead you into the final area, which is called, so basically throughout all this you're running into like various Disney characters, obviously, and trying to do some other stuff. Oh yeah, Monstro, I forgot about that one too. I can't remember the exact order, but it might be this. So essentially you run into various Disney characters and you're trying to help the main characters, I guess, like help the princesses of each realm and try to make sure they don't get like murked or kidnapped, because apparently a lot of the Heartless are going after these princesses who are pure of heart, as in they have no darkness or malice in their heart. And so you're going around, I think Hercules, I don't remember what that one has. Jane from Tarzan isn't one, but in Alice in Wonderland it's like it's Alice. In Aladdin it's Jasmine. In Nightmare Before Christmas, I don't think there was one. Little Mermaid is Ariel, I think, and then you had Beauty and the Beast, Belle, a lot of other ones too. Cinderella, I think, shows up at some point too. So essentially that's the main gimmick. And you eventually end up at a land called Hollow. Well, you know, that's better. Okay, and eventually you end up at a new place that is called HB, or as I call it, or as technically called, I think it's Hollow Bastion, which is this like crazy psychedelic. It's like this super crazy cool. I don't know how to draw castles, but essentially you got like all these cool spires and everything. And by the way, throughout this entire thing you're running into like all the Disney villains, and they're actually like bad guys, obviously. So you run into Maleficent, you run into Jafar, you run into the one poacher guy from Tarzan, you run into the Queen of Hearts, and they're all being tempted by darkness because of the darkness in their hearts. And so they summon the Heartless to go fight you and stop you, dear protagonist Kun. Okay, so that's essentially where we're at so far. In Hollow Bastion, so basically a lot of the plot is irrelevant. Okay, a lot of the Disney World plots are just side stories to include Disney characters, but then we get to Hollow Bastion, and this is where the plot finally kicks in that's actually relevant. So, Hollow Bastion, you finally, you, Sora, the protagonist, finally, find your friend, Riku, who you haven't seen in, like, so long because he's been, you know, missing ever since, you know, Destiny Islands got kaput. But then for whatever reason, he takes your Keyblade. Like, he says, you're not worthy to use the Keyblade, and I guess the Keyblade listens to Riku now, and so the Keyblade goes from Sora to Riku, and then not only does that happen, but Donald Duck and Goofy, which I am drawing very poorly right now, it's okay. I know he's like green. These two goobers decide, well, sorry, Sora, we're here to work for the Keyblade wielder, and you're not the Keyblade wielder anymore, so I guess we're working for Riku now. Sorry. And then they start working for Riku. And then basically Sora gets NTR'd by Riku, and Riku and Donald go into Hollow Bastion, and they go do things in there, I guess without Sora's consent. And Sora's like, oh no, what am I gonna do? What will I do now? And so he, for some reason, runs into Beast from Beauty and the Beast. You know the big hulking guy? Looks like a monster. I don't know how to draw him, but we'll draw him like this, I guess. Okay, there's Beast. Okay, so yes, it is real. It is real, Infinite. Why am I describing it? Because it's true. So Beast and Sora go through Hollow Bastion, and they go murder a bunch of Heartless and other things. Yeah, Beast looks like Donkey Kong. Oh, you know what? Here, if you want him to look more correct, he technically does have a cool, like, purple cape thing going on. So I guess we'll draw a cape. He's got like a cool purple cape, so that you know he's like royalty. Okay, so Sora and Beast go into Hollow Bastion, and then they find Riku. That's right, inside the castle they find Riku. But wait, it turns out Riku wasn't Riku the whole time. You see, Riku was actually possessed, and so he throws away his really cool, you know, like his weird yellow, like this whole time Riku's been wearing like this yellow blue outfit thing, but then he becomes an edgelord and says, I've been possessed by Ansem, the Ansem Seeker of Darkness. And so he puts on this weird muscle textured outfit type thing with a very obvious Heartless logo on it, like this. You know what? Here, I'll show you what the Heartless logo, you know, it's probably better if I just show you Shadow Riku. Hold on. He basically becomes this edgy version called Dark Riku, and I really wish I was joking, but this is what Dark Riku looks like. So I'm not joking when I say that the texture is very muscle fiber-esque, and he's got a super edgy Keyblade. So yeah, essentially, yeah, so like a black carapace. So that's what happens. But because Riku has submitted himself into the darkness, this means that Sora, you know, our spunky protagonist, can get his Keyblade back. He's like, yay, he gets his Keyblade back. And then Donald and Goofy have this weird thing where they're like, I really love my friends, and I'm not going to betray Sora after all of our adventures. And Donald's like, I don't know how to do a Donald voice. And so they go join Sora back, and everyone is back together, and Sora is no longer NTR'd by Riku. But wait, they fight, and then Shadow Riku, or Dark Riku, has been defeated, but he's like, but then you find out Kairi's been here the whole time. That's right, Kairi is just like lying in the background, and she's just like asleep. And it's not just her, apparently all the other princesses are here. That's right, every single princess that you were trying to save has actually been here the whole time. Because these princesses, there are 7 of them, are actually the princesses of heart. And Ansem wants these hearts because these hearts will open the way to Kingdom Hearts title drop. Ooh, ooh. That's not a Donald redeem at all. That's not a Donald redeem. So he needs all 7 of these princesses. So there's 6 Disney princesses. Okay, so I'm gonna look it up real quick because I can't remember the exact list, but by the princesses of heart. Okay, so yeah, so the princesses of heart in game 1 are Alice, Snow White, Jasmine, Belle, Cinderella, Aurora, and Kyrie. That's right, you have to give her, Alice from Alice in Wonderland, Snow White from Snow White, Jasmine from Aladdin, Belle from Beauty and the Beast, Cinderella from Cinderella, and Aurora from Sleeping Beauty, and Kyrie. Those are the 7 princesses of heart, but they're all asleep. And part of the problem is that for whatever reason, Kyrie here, who's been again asleep the whole time. One thing that Ansem is running into is that the heart's missing. Her heart is missing, and it's like, whoa, where is her heart? Right? So, what's it saying? Heart 404 not found. But you find out. What you find out when is she princess? She's a princess according to Disney logic. You find out that her heart, Kyrie's heart, this whole time was actually inside of Sora this entire time. So, Sora, our Splunky protagonist, actually has 2 hearts in him. He's got his own, and he's got Kyrie's. Wow, that's crazy. How did this happen? Because of the Destiny Islands thing, I guess. And so, Kyrie won't wake up. How is he gonna do this? Well, and I wish I was joking, Sora takes... Did I just do this? I should do this entire stream, like, pretending like I'm goofing. So Sora takes Dark Riku's Keyblade and stabs himself in the heart, which will unlock his heart and free Kyrie's heart at the cost of his own. And so, I'm not even joking, Sora basically is like, yeah, and then he takes, like, Riku's super edgy purple dark energy sword thing that's a manifestation of all of of Ansem's darkness, and basically commits seppuku in a way. Technically, he's unlocking his heart, but this essentially forces him to split, right? So it forces out Kyrie's heart. So Kyrie's heart, you know, goes from Sora, and oopsies. It goes from Sora, and you know, then it magically makes its way back to Kyrie, and Kyrie's all okay again. And then Sora's actual heart is now missing, and it's like, what happened? He sacrificed himself so that Kyrie could be okay. Because you see, what happens is when Sora unlocked his heart to free Kyrie's heart, his heart, without a body anymore, became a heartless. That's right, he became one of those little goober things that look like this, with complete with the creepy yellow eyes. So there's like a small portion of the game where you play as him, and that's how Sora becomes a heartless. But then apparently Kyrie wakes up, right, and he's like, whoa, I'm awake again. Oh no, where's Sora? And then Donald and Goofy this entire time are like, oh, we gotta protect Kyrie because we're under attack from all of these heartless that are attracted by the sound of the pure of heart, which sounds really questionable, but I think that's what happens. So you got Donald and you got Goofy, and they're basically trying to fend off the heartless so that they don't kill Kyrie and whatnot, which I'm trying to do. This is such a mess. And then you find out, and then so Kyrie's been protecting this one heartless because this heartless hasn't been attacking the whole time. And you find out, whoa, this is actually Sora. And through the power of friendship bullshit, which I'm not even gonna bother to explain because I don't think there's an actual explanation for this. Sora undoes the weird darkness thing that happens, and he comes back. Yeah, that's right. The Heartless reverses, and you know he becomes a person again. He becomes people again, and that's. And then there's a bunch of other parts. So this Hollow Bastion, then they go to another place, which I'm not even joking is I think the last place is literally called the End of the World. Where basically, you know, your three spunky protagonists. You have Sora, Donald, and Goober. You know, they go in here and they're like, oh, we gotta go find Ansem the Wise, or Ansem Seeker of Darkness, right? So they pull out their weapons and they enter this magical place called the End of the World, which is essentially a completely shattered remnant of Destiny Islands. Essentially, it's basically like a weird black hole type place, right? It's like very spooky and ominous, and you have like tendrils of energy like pouring in. It's like a black hole because it's the manifestation of all this darkness that kind of coalesces into this place. By the way, one thing I forgot to mention is that a lot of the plot is Sora's, you essentially go through all the Disney worlds twice. On the first go around, you're kind of just learning about the world, and the second go around, you're sealing the keyholes. Okay, and in this realm of the End of the World, they are trying to essentially reach Kingdom Hearts, and so they have to go fight. They have to essentially rehash their fight against a bunch of the various villains that they fought earlier, and then eventually they encounter. I need to pull up art of this goober because I can't remember. Oh, trust me, Ranu, we're just only in the beginning. This is not even that bad yet. This is the easy stuff. So they eventually run into Ansem, the real form of Ansem, Seeker of Darkness. And he's got his really cool black hoodie on, like he's like some weird guy that you probably don't want to be buying shady products from at the supermarket. He doesn't have his hood anymore, but he's got like really cool gray hair like Riku does, because he's an edgelord, except it's really long. And he's just like, yes, Sora, I'm here. Come, I will open the way to Kingdom Hearts. Kingdom Hearts. He says Kingdom Hearts like I think 20 times at some point in this plot line. So at some point, yeah, you're gonna fight him. You kill him a bunch of times. I think his fight legitimately is like a 3-phase fight. So essentially, you fight him normally, right? So hold on. Okay, so let me explain this real quick, because I remember this fight vividly because it's completely nonsense. Okay, so Sora and Riku fight version 1 of Ansem, which I think is like this, right? And then you fight a second version of Ansem Seeker of Darkness, and there's a reason why I'm saying Seeker of Darkness a lot. Okay, but this time he's got like a really big dark shadow. It's just essentially like almost a Heartless for a Heartless. Because, oh yeah, I didn't mention this, but Ansem Seeker of Darkness is actually a Heartless, but that's not relevant yet. But he's got like a big ol' like shadow Heartless behind him that's like, you know, assisting him in it's like a stand. This is essentially his shadow stand, his Heartless stand. Okay. And this one, you know, will do like all the cool dark orb attack things. Can I just fill this in real quick so you can kind of get the idea? This looks terrible, but you get the point. And then, and I really wish I was joking when I said this, but in his third phase, he becomes a boat. Where it's like this. And he's got like big arms, and he's like big and scary and stuff. But it looks really dumb. So these are the 3 phases that you have to fight. Essentially, I think it's one. Yeah, I think the first one is regular, then you have your second one, and then you have the third. I think it's a 3-phase fight. I cannot remember. I wish I was joking. I really wish I was joking, but he really does become like a weird flesh boat. Let me pull up a picture of it so you understand what this thing looks like. Let me merge these layers real quick. Have to make these visible. Okay, yeah, so let me merge these. So he becomes like this weird flesh boat thing, and this is Ansem's final form. So you have to do some really weird, annoying floaty mechanics, and you go beat him up, and then you win, right? Yeah, kind of. And then so what ends up happening is that when you finally defeat Ansem, Seeker of Darkness, he's like, I will not be defeated by you. I will find Kingdom Hearts, because again, his entire goal has been to find Kingdom Hearts, which is, according to him, the source of all darkness. And so he finds his way to Kingdom Hearts, which is this big, giant, glowing moon. One of the big things you're gonna run into so much, and it's like, okay, hold on, is this giant heart-shaped moon, which is actually what Kingdom Hearts is. Let's see if I can find an image of the heart. There we go. Yeah. Essentially, Kingdom Hearts becomes a gigantic plot point for the entire franchise. It looks like this. Think of it essentially like this. The way they describe Kingdom Hearts, so every world, the way it's described is just like how people have hearts, worlds have hearts. And Kingdom Hearts is the heart of all worlds, like the center of the universe, okay? And it is the aggregation of like all the souls in the Kingdom Hearts universe in a way, right? And so part of their goal, of Ansem's goal, is to open up, because he believes it's like a source of infinite darkness and whatnot. So what ends up happening is, actually we'll just leave that image up here because it's funnier. So what ends up happening is Ansem, Seeker of Darkness, is like, I'm going to go open the Kingdom Hearts, and it's got like a keyhole type thing here. I don't know how to draw a keyhole, something like this, I guess. Okay, well, there's a keyhole here, and Ansem's Seeker of Darkness is just like, I'm gonna open this up, but then the door to Kingdom Hearts opens. Oh yeah, I forgot, it's technically not on here. There's like a big old door that he's like trying to get to. It looks like, I don't know. Here's a door, right? And then you got Ansem, he's like, I will find my Kingdom Hearts. I will not be denied my birthright, or whatever he says. I can't remember. Oh, trust me, this will explain everything for you then. We're already an hour in and I'm still only on the first game. I am not going to get through all the games today. We might have to do the second stream of this. So that's... But then... Oh no! The door opens! And do you know what he finds? Do you know what he finds in Kingdom Hearts? I'll tell you what he doesn't find. He doesn't find darkness. Oh no, he finds light. And I'm not even joking. He's like, the light, it burns. And he does that like one pose that Kaiba does, where he's just like, I'm being destroyed. You know, where he's like about to get blasted by Exodia's attack. And so the light is essentially like comes out and starts beating this man in the face, and he disintegrates into nothing. But now they have to close Kingdom Hearts, because inside of Kingdom Hearts, for whatever reason, there's a metric ton of Heartless. Like there's just a bunch of like weird Heartless in here, and so they need to close it, but they can't close it from the outside. Kingdom Hearts, the door here has to be closed from both the inside and from the outside. Why does it have to be like that? I don't know. But then you find out Riku is actually alive. That's right, this guy is still alive, and he's gonna help you close it from the inside. But wait, you see the silhouette of everyone's favorite Disney property icon, who makes them $1 bajillion that I don't know how to draw properly. Mickey Mouse is in there, and he's shirtless. My face hurt. This is like the only time he shows up in the first game. Which is really funny to think about. Here's like the actual cutscene. Here's a screen cap from the actual cutscene, if you're kind of curious what it looks like. He basically goes and he's like, Sora, wherever there's light, we'll be there. Like, wherever there's light, there's hope. And then he helps seal the door to Kingdom Hearts from the inside, while Sora, Donald, and Goofy close it from the outside. And then Mickey uses his own Keyblade over there and seals the door to Kingdom Hearts. Yep. Oh yeah, and then I forgot the other thing that happens in this thing. My drawing skills improve. Oh no, trust me, it's gotten worse. And then I forgot the other thing about after this is after they defeat everyone, you know, Sora and Kairi are on these like floating platforms that are like spreading apart for whatever reason because they don't know how to reach their hands out to each other, and they're like, no, Sora, and he's like, no, Kairi. I think it's like this color. I really need to put this on a proper palette. I think this is Kairi's hair color. And they're like, no, we'll find each other again. Him being shirtless is unironically plot relevant because in a cutscene in a game that comes out 15 years later, they actually strip him of his clothes except for his pants to make it match the cutscene from Kingdom Hearts 1. I am not joking. I wish I was, but they wanted to ensure continuity. Okay. No, in Kingdom Hearts he's actually not shirtless. It's only strictly in this one cutscene, and then they make him shirtless in another cutscene to match it in a game that comes out way later down the line. Okay, so anyways, these two are splitting apart because the plot reasons, and so Kairi gets sent back to Destiny Islands, and Sora gets sent off to God knows where, and they're like, we'll find each other again. We promise each other, right? We'll come back for each other. And so that's. And then, I don't know, Sora, like, so Kairi ends up on Destiny Islands, and then Sora, along with, can I just copy paste that Donald that I drew earlier? I really like that Donald I drew. Where's that stupid Donald? I really like that one Donald. Oh, I don't know where it is. Oh my god, my layers are so messy. Okay, wait, hold on. What? Oh, okay, yeah, here we go. Okay. Okay. So, Donald and Goofy right here. Oh, I guess I didn't copy. Tag along with Sora, and they go off on their magical adventure to parts unknown. So, yeah, that's the plot of Kingdom Hearts 1. Here, I think this is how I can draw them. Okay, so yeah, so Sora and Donald, you know, go with Goofy, or Sora and Goofy go with Sora, and they go on parts unknown and continue their magical adventures. And that's the end of Kingdom Hearts 1. Basically, all the Disney parts literally do not matter. The only part that matters is the Sora and Square Enix important bits. And so that's the end of Kingdom Hearts 1. This is considered a simple plot line. This is a very simple plot line. I wish I was joking. Oh, trust me, I'm gonna put them in their own folder on the file. I should probably save this actually before I forget. Yeah, I do have a folder for these layers. I'm gonna dump them all into one folder. I'll sort through it later. So that's Kingdom Hearts 1. Are you ready for Kingdom Hearts 2? You're not ready for Kingdom Hearts 2. Okay. Are you ready? Welcome to Kingdom Hearts 2 is what I would say, but we're not ready for Kingdom Hearts 2 because it's time for Chain of Memories. That's right, we have Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories, or also known as Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories, depending on which version you're playing. And this game came out for the Game Boy Advance for some reason. And then it came out on the PS2 as a remake, as a 3D remake. Yeah, this is a game that was really weird. Basically, it eschewed a lot of the core mechanics from the first one. No, I don't think it was ever on mobile. I think it was strictly on Game Boy. But basically, the game, for lack of better words, looked like this. It looked like this. It's a very simple game. Your attacks are replaced with cards, and you have to play a card game while you're doing action combat at the same time, and then you do shenanigans, and then you win, hopefully, in theory. That's essentially the core gist of the game. Very simple. But this game actually has a lot of significant plot ramifications that we're about to get through now, because there's no way. I'm gonna do my best to explain this thing, because it's a mess. Okay. So what essentially happens in Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories is Sora... Can I just copy paste Sora and Donald and Goofy? Hold on. I'm so sick and tired of like redrawing them every single time. I actually want to just copy them. Where's the best one that I drew? Where's the best Sora Donald? Oh, here we go. We'll use these ones. Okay, so let me just draw Sora here. So because Sora always has his Keyblade with him, right? So he's like this. And then he got his brown hair. Okay, so this is gonna be Sora, Donald, and Goofy. I'm just gonna copy paste them because I'm gonna need them like a ton. Okay, can I put them on like a new layer? Okay, perfect. And then I'm just gonna keep this at the top so I can just move it around. Okay, so apparently I did not do that correctly because I did not actually copy Sora, Donald, and Goofy for some unholy reason, which means I gotta go actually copy them from the correct layer because I didn't select the correct layer because I am an idiot. Okay, I should be able to just drag this now. This is such a mess. Okay. What layer is this on? Where are they? What in the world? Where is Donald and... Oh, they're on this layer. Okay, hold on. Okay, hold on. I think I found it. Okay, so that's fine. So we're gonna copy this, merge these together. Okay. So here's Sora, Donald, and Goofy. All right, here's our protagonist. Okay, so what essentially happens is that these three goobers, you know, they're after the last fight, they end up going to a magical place that is very spooky, and it is called... Can I draw this? Okay, hold on. They end up at a very spooky place called Castle Oblivion, which is totally not like like a lot of the place names in this game are just like Castle Oblivion, Traverse Town, the world that never was, like the end of the world. Like they're so just edgy in a special way that it's really appealing to people who are like who grew up with this franchise in their formative elementary or middle school years or even high school years. And that's kind of why I like this one, 'cause it's so stupid and it takes itself completely seriously. So they end up on like this this place called like Castle Oblivion, which is, you know, a very spooky castle, a lot of very odd sharp pointed edges because of course it does, and it's like on top of this like really big cliffside, you know, like you know, the one that would be like, oh shoot, like the one that would be like this type of thing. So there's a big old thing, and they follow like this magic path that leads them to Castle Oblivion. Castle Oblivion. Okay, so this is the entirety of Chain of Memories takes place in Castle Oblivion, and they, you know, oh shoot, I drew this on the wrong layer. Well, I guess we're getting rid of that entire drawing. Drew that on the wrong layer. So the entire game takes place on in Castle Oblivion, and so what is happening is these guys start encountering the mysterious members of a place called Organization 13, because there's 13 members supposedly, and they all have the same outfit. I'm just gonna pull up a photo of them. Hold on. You know what? It's easier if I just pull up an image of Organization 13 so that I don't have to draw all 13 of these stupid idiots. Or here, I'll pull up this one. Here's a generic looking Organization 13. Here's a generic Organization 13 member. A lot of the characters of 13, before you actually meet them or they reveal themselves, look like this. It is essentially a black trench coat that's very form-fitting, and they have a really wacky hood. By the way, this game has a lot of zippers and big shoes. I forgot to mention this thing, but a lot of the characters have really big shoes for some reason. Like in the game and in their art, like it's really funny to look at. Prime example, if you just take a look at Sora's official render from Super Smash Bros, want to point out those shoes are really, really big. And it's not just him. It's everyone in this. It's every main character in this. I think Sora's like the biggest example. I think Riku had like really big ones in the first game before his started to normalize in size. Sora's orthopedic issues. No, we will make fun of him for it. It's fine. Let's see if Kairi has like big shoes too. Okay, no, apparently it's only Sora really. Everyone else kind of starts to have like normal sized shoes at some point. Anyways, so they meet the members of Organization 13 in Castle Oblivion, and they're like, hey, dudes, welcome to Castle Oblivion. We're here, you're gonna lose your memories, or something like that. I barely remember the plot of this game, like the specifics of what happens in here. But yeah, essentially like Organization 13 is like, oh, you know, we're gonna retrace all of your memories. And so essentially for the most part of the game, these three climb up the floors of, you know, Castle Oblivion as they essentially retrace a lot of the main plot. Like they're essentially rehashing a lot of the first game. You know, right? They'll end up in Traverse Town, then they'll end up in Agrabah, then they'll end up in, you know, the jungle, and then they'll end up in a bunch of other places like Hollow Bastion, and eventually they'll fight like all the members of Organization 13. Can't remember the one game we played and cleared the true ending. I don't know either. Because there's so many games with like ridiculous true endings, I would not be able to tell you which one specifically. God, I hope this is entertaining. Like, I legitimately hope this is fun to listen to, because I am like, this is just insanity. Okay. Okay. So, Chain of Memories. Basically, just like the first game, a lot of this does not matter, because all of it is just like rehashing the Disney parts of the plot line that no one really cares about. Along the way, he fights various members of Organization 13. I can't remember all their name. I cannot remember every single one who shows up. Let me actually just Google this real quick, because I cannot remember who's actually part of Castle Oblivion in Chain of Memories plotline. But essentially, a lot of the members of Organization 13 show up at various points in the game. And I'm trying to see if I can't remember. But they all have like really silly names. Like you have like Axel, and you have like Marxine, I want to say is another name, and Luxus, and Zigbar. Oh, it's not Marxine. I think it's Marluxia is what it was. It was like Marluxia. So every single member of Organization 13 has an X in their name. That's right. To be a member, you have to have an X in your name. Like if I was a member of Organization 13, my name would probably be something like coax, like a coax cable, because I don't know how you're supposed to turn oak into something with an X in it. So, you know, I'm just saying, you have to have an X in your name. And this X is going to be really relevant later on. This X in their names is not an X. This is it becomes relevant in Dream Drop Distance, but there's actually something called the recusants. Oh my god, I can't type this. I can't write this. This is actually called the recusants sigil. Okay, so the name is not actually it's not just actually in the X. It's actually Cowax, pronounced chaos. You know what? That's true. They would make it sound like that. Okay. When I'm playing everything to start, I do own all the games. Legitimately, I could probably, if I wanted to, I could speedrun the entire franchise in probably like 20 hours, which is about like 5 streams. Well, probably not 20 hours. It'd probably take me more like 40 hours realistically, because I'm not like a super speedrunner, but I know how to do every fight. So this plot point is not relevant, and this is not ever explained to you until Dream Drop Distance, which I need to emphasize is the 3DS game from forever ago. Anyways, how are you doing, Brony? I see you there. So, it's called the Recusant Sigil. It's not relevant, but let's just say it's a tracking beacon, and it's how people get Norded, which is another term that is not relevant until, I think, Kingdom Hearts I want to say being Norded is not relevant until birth by sleep. Which, that's a whole nother word you're gonna learn today. You did not want to learn any of this today, but you're learning it today anyways. Okay, so that's so essentially they're gonna go through this entire plot line, and they find a bunch of these organizations. You know what? Here, let's just pull up the entire names of Organization 13. I do not remember. Okay, so I'm gonna pull up every name of Org 13 so we can talk about them, because they all. By the way, every single member of Organization 13 has like their own unique weapon, right? Because they're so edgy that they have to have their own cool stuff. So, essentially, you have the lead. Okay, so essentially, you have the leader, Xemnas. There's this, and I'm gonna circle the X so you can easily tell where the X's are. So you have Xemnas. See if you can figure out who these different people, what their real names might be. Who's number 1? You have number 2. By the way, they only write in Roman numerals because they're edgy. Okay, you cannot ever write with normal Arabic numerals. You gotta have Roman numerals when you're referring to Organization 13. You have Zigbar. By the way, they all have like really cool epithets. I think Xemnas is like the superior, Zigbar is like the free shooter. You have Zaldin, who is known as the Whirlwind Lancer. You have Vixen, the Chili Academic, is what I'm reading here. You got Lexus, like the car. You've got Zexion. You've got Cyax, except he's super special because he has that umlaut thing over his eye for some reason, and I never really knew how to pronounce it. Then you've got Axel. Then you've got who's 9? Demix. So Axel is the... Okay, so essentially, I forgot the name, but look, Vexen is the Chili Academic, Lexus is the Tactern Stalwart, Zexion is the Cloak Schemer, Cyax is the Luna Diviner, which is a very edgy name and I love it. Axel is the Flurry of Dancing Flames, Demix is the Melodious Nocturne, Luxord is number 10, and he's known as the Gambler of Fate. I think it's an O, actually. 11 is Marluxia, who is known as the Graceful Assassin. 12, who is Larxene, known as the Savage Nymph. And then you have 13, who is Roxas, the Key of Destiny. And then you also have a mysterious member who's not relevant right now, but I'll just tell it right now. There's another there's a 14th member of Organization 13 named Xion, who is relevant in 358 over 2 days, which we'll get to that at some point. And she doesn't have a title. Okay, so these are all 13 members. By the way, they all have an X in their name, like I mentioned earlier. Like, it's very much like, okay, it's either like here's one, here's one, here's one, here's one, here's one. Ignore my terrible handwriting. Marluxia, Larxene, Roxas, and Xion. Okay, so they all have an X in their name. Fine, everyone loves it. Okay, so what essentially happens is they're going through Castle Oblivion, they fight a bunch of these guys, and they eventually realize, oh, we're losing our memories, like Sora's memories. This entire game is about memory, that's why it's called Chain of Memories. Sora's memories of Kairi, right? Remember Kairi, the damsel in distress that we all know and love with, you know, that fuchsia pink purple hair thing going on? Well, for whatever reason, his memories are seemingly replaced by another girl that he appears to have made similar promises to that he doesn't remember, named Naminé, who looks a lot like Kairi for some reason. It's very spooky. It's like Kairi but blonde, and also wears a one piece instead of like whatever Kairi normally wears. Eventually you find out that Naminé has actually been like kind of, for lack of better words, messing with Sora's memories. So imagine, you know, this is Sora's brain, right? And Naminé is just like, man, those are some really nice memories. Let's just self-insert myself in there and do things to it and all that stuff. And then plug it back in there. Plug it back into Sora's memories. And this is all part of trying to, I can't remember, I'm trying to remember what the actual reason why they were trying to mess with Sora's memories in this game. I think it was because they were trying to turn Sora into a puppet of Organization 13 because he's a Keyblade wielder. So they're trying to corrupt his memories so that Sora can turn into edgy Sora, you know, like he can become a member of Org 13, you know, and he can have a cool, you know, black trench coat type thing too. But ultimately Naminé has a change of heart and says, no, I won't do this at all, and tells Sora like, hey fam, I may have messed with your memory, but I can fix it, but you just gotta trust me. And Sora's like, well, you seem trustworthy, I'll trust you. And so Sora, Donald, and Goofy, because these two goobers have had their memories also adjusted, end up in a like giant memory restoration pod that looks like a lotus flower, which I am not going to be able to draw properly, but just trust me about this. How do I draw this thing? Basically it's like, imagine like a giant stasis chamber, kind of like this, like a flower. It's there's a lot of flower motifs, and then you kind of just shove these two in there. You just shove them in the memory restoration pod, and then that's the end of Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories Part 1. Because there was another part to Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories. Oh yes, there's actually another part to this. You see, there is a part of Chain of Memories called Reverse Chain of Memories. I think it's what it was actually called. I think it was called Reverse Rebirth. Okay, so there's a second part of Chain of Memories. By the way, this is all on a game that was on a GBA cartridge. It's called Chain of Memories Reverse Rebirth. Exactly, defensive. It's like a strange fake situation, but it's just a fake. Basically, so hey, remember Castle Oblivion, right? So, you know, the big spooky castle that had like all the weird spiky bits and everything. That yeah, here's Castle Oblivion, right? Castle Oblivion. Well, did you know there's an entire underground section, the basement floors of Castle Oblivion, which is also dark and spooky and kind of mucky with your memories and type deal? Okay, so essentially what is happening is Sora, Donald, and Gorpy are on the upper floor. I'm gonna draw a Riku that I can keep forever. And then on the bottom floor, you have Riku, who was here the whole time, because what ended up happening is he was lost in the darkness, and I'm just gonna gloss over this part. This entire section here is he's also again having his memories kind of like not really tampered with, but he's learning to control his darkness. Basically Sora is like the personification of, hold on. Sora is the personification of light. He's all bright sunshine friendship, whereas Riku, oh, he's like the personification of dark edginess that every teen was really into back in the day. And so Riku's entire shtick is he's trying to learn to control the darkness power within him that was when he was temporarily possessed by Ansem, Seeker of Darkness. And so he essentially moves through the floors of Castle Oblivion. I think while these two are going up, I think Riku's going like this way or something like that. And essentially, yeah, he runs into a couple mysterious characters. He runs into more Org 13 members. He also runs into like this mummy dude called Dix. Or Diz, I'm sorry, Diz. His name is Diz, not Dix. But it's spelled weird. It's like uppercase, lowercase, capital. Like that. So you got Diz, who looks like a mummy, but he's also got like one eye, so he's kind of like this. He's like yeah, I got an eye patch and I got one eye, dude. I'm so cool. And also he runs into like Mickey Mouse a couple times, and his like evil dark Ansem is trying to possess Riku, but Riku fights him off with the power of friendship while still like, I will learn to accept the darkness in my heart. Okay, and then eventually he leaves Castle Oblivion perfectly fine. Okay, that's the end of Chain of Memories. That was a very short, succinct summary. What do you think so far of our magical adventure in the realm of Kingdom Hearts. My drink is so watered down now. Ugh. All right. God, there's a lot of Kingdom Hearts orchestras. That's actually kind of crazy to think about. Okay. It's time for the next part. All right, we're going to get to the actual part. We're going to get to the next game that's actually significantly plot relevant. Okay. So we're going to continuing our chronological order adventure. We're going to make a new folder here, make a new layer. Okay. We're going to talk about Kingdom Hearts 2, which, by the way, Kingdom Hearts 2 probably has my favorite rendition of Dearly Beloved. If you don't know, Dearly Beloved is the primary theme for Kingdom Hearts. It is the music that plays at every main menu theme, and it is a very simple... In the first game, it's a very simple piano melody. It sounds like this. Hold on. This is the first game's version. Okay. It's a very... Oh my gosh. My YouTube is kind of breaking. Hold on. I need to fix it. Come on. Yes, I'm not even joking. The mobile game is what ultimately did reveal... you learn a lot about the villains. However, for what it's worth, they did port the Chain of Memories to the PlayStation 2, so you could at least play it if you didn't own a Game Boy Advance. However, it didn't have any voice cutscenes. So this is Dearly Beloved. It's a fantastic theme, one of my favorites. Kingdom Hearts, but it's a very simple piano theme. Every version of Kingdom Hearts has its own version of Dearly Beloved, and some of them have different leading instruments. So for example, Kingdom Hearts 1 is strictly piano. By the time you get to Chain of Memories, it's a little more ethereal because of obviously the whole memory mechanics that are going on. Kingdom Hearts 2 is probably my favorite rendition of it. Becomes a full orchestra piece with strings and everything. I think a different version has like more swing theme to it. So anyways, welcome to Kingdom Hearts 2, which is a game that definitely exists and is probably the best entry in the franchise. I am of the opinion that Kingdom Hearts 2 is the best Kingdom Hearts game. Number 1 came out on the PS2. I have a lot of fond memories of this game. But anyways, Kingdom Hearts 2 takes place literally right after Chain of Memories. So remember, the timeline is Kingdom Hearts 1 into Chain of Memories into Kingdom Hearts 2. Except you're gonna start the game and you're like, wait a second, where's Sora? Because your main protagonist in Chain of Memories is not in fact Sora. You are introduced to a new character. That's right, a new person becomes your protagonist, and his name is Roxas, and he is voiced by Jesse McCartney. And I wish I like this game has a lot of really interesting voice actor options. So your new protagonist for this game is Roxas, and his hair is kind of weirdly similar to Sora, and he looks a lot like Sora. Except he's got like he's got a different color scheme. It's very weird. Like whereas Sora had kind of dark brown hair, Roxas has pretty orange looking hair, and it's very interesting to kind of behold. So his entire shtick is that he's living in a town called Twilight Town. That's right, because this town, for whatever reason, is just in a perpetual sunset. That I guess if I were to draw it would look kind of like... It'd be kind of like... oh, that's not a sunsetty color. It'd be like, okay. There's like a town. And, you know, there's like all this stuff here. I think there's like a big... I think one of the big plot points is like this big old clock tower too. So we'll just do like that. And then obviously like a lot of buildings here. Yeah, so welcome to Twilight Town. What's with the Sora lookalikes? Oh, trust me. There's an explanation for the Sora lookalikes too. Okay, so Roxas is our new protagonist, and he is joined by his... let's see. He's joined by his spunky friends whose names I do not remember. All I remember is that one of them is like the skinny leader type, one of them is like a chubbier dude, and then the other one was the girl. Okay, and they're his friends, and they're trying to enjoy their summer before bad things happen, before they have to go back to school, because I guess they have to go back to school at some point. Didn't totally bring this in Shadowverse. Oh yeah, totally not. Isn't there an old man who... Wait, let's see. I don't know why it's not showing me what you're saying. Is there an old man who visits children town? Kind of, yeah. Well, we'll get to that later. So anyways, they're trying to finish up their projects before summer ends and they have to go back to school. But for whatever reason, they don't know how to say the word photograph anymore. There's like weird things happening all over town. Like there's these weird, super skinny, like almost jagged looking creatures that are just weirdly dancing and also attack people. And every time they try to say the word photo, it just gets replaced with blanks. They don't know how to say it. Like they're confused. Like what is happening? It's so weird. But they're trying to get to the bottom of this mystery, right? And then at some point, you know what, I should probably make a dedicated Roxas image for this. We're gonna need a dedicated Roxas image. Let me do that real fast. I need a new folder. I'm trying to organize this by game, even though it's not really organized right now. Okay, let's draw new. So here's gonna be Roxas, because I'm gonna be too lazy to redraw him a bajillion times. His hair is way more orange than Sora's. Okay, so here's Roxas. And then so they start investigating things all around town. And then Roxas is getting attacked by one of the... Oh, hold on. Let's put a new layer here. By one of those weird dancing thingies. Like, oh, they're like weirdly spindly and they have like diamond triangle heads and they're like, whoa. And they like slither around a lot on the ground and they're like, ooh, look at me. But then Roxas, for whatever reason, is like, oh, he's under attack. He's just gonna pull out his Keyblade. What? Why does Roxas have a Keyblade? Oh, you don't see it because it's not. So there we go. Yeah, it's like, why does Roxas have a Keyblade? And then he uses this thing and he murks these weird creatures that he doesn't know what they're called. And then you go through essentially 3 or 4 days of in-game time. Time passes and you try to figure out what's going on, what's happening. But wait, he meets someone while he's out and about. Oops, wrong one. I'm trying to find a good music playlist that's not gonna just be boring to listen to. Kingdom Hearts playlist. Let's see here. It's always relaxing music, but I don't want relaxing music. Oh, here, the Twilight Town ambiance music. Maybe this is fine. Okay. Let's see. Kingdom Hearts. Okay, this is all music from Kingdom Hearts. Got it. Okay. So, what is going on? Why does Roxas have a Keyblade? Okay, well, you see, that's all explained when he goes to this mysterious mansion where he's heard about essentially, was one of the mysteries he's trying to investigate. There's a mysterious mansion on the edge of town, right? And in the windows, supposedly, you can see a girl kind of just, you know, hanging out in there. And no one knows who she is, but they're told a girl with blonde hair you can see through the windows. And so Roxas is out here going to investigate, and he's like, whoa, what's going on over here? But then he encounters one of those darned mysterious hooded figures that are supposedly responsible for everything that's going on in Twilight Town. A hooded figure that looks weirdly familiar if you've played any of the previous games, because it's got, like, you know, a lot of gray zippers and things. That's probably a good... I'm not trying to draw a penis, but that is probably the best representation I can do of an Organization 13 member. There we go. There we go. That's an Organization 13 member. And you find out that this Organization 13 member is actually Axel. Whoa. He's got cool, spiky, red, flaming hair, and he's here to fight Roxas, and he's yelling at Roxas to remember things, but he doesn't know what he's talking about. So they get into an epic duel where Roxas somehow, for whatever reason, starts dual wielding Keyblades in like the first hour of this game, and he just completely murks Axel, and Axel disappears, and he's like, ah, How could you betray us? How could you not remember us? This is all in the first like 1 to 2 hours, by the way. And then so eventually, you know, he goes back, sees his friends a bunch of times and starts talking to them. By the way, this entire time, Roxas has been having nightmares where whenever he's asleep, right? Every time Roxas is sleeping, he's getting these memories of like things that he doesn't know anything about, including of like a duck and like this weird upright dog that goes "Yok" all the time, and he's like, I don't like, what are these memories? I don't get it, fam. And then eventually Roxas enters the mysterious mansion. That's right, Roxas is just like, hey fam, I'm here to see what's going on with this skidoodly wacky place. Like this. This actually is weirdly enough like a really good, the sketches are not that bad actually. So Roxas makes his way into the mysterious place, and he learns that the girl who was inside of this thing the whole time was actually this girl named Namine from Chain of Memories. Whoa, continuity. And then you find out that actually Roxas isn't real, and Roxas is actually holds Sora's memories. And so Roxas says some really sad thing like, I guess my summer vacation's over, as Roxas starts to fade away out of existence, just like, yeah, literally like this. He's like, oh no. And then out pops, and then I'm not even joking, out pops Sora, Donald, and Goofy. And they're like, wow, that was a really good sleep, guys. We gotta continue our adventure. And I wish I was joking, but this is literally what happens in the game. And they're like, thanks, Namine, thanks for fixing our memories. And then they leave. And they just leave, they leave Twilight Town. This is the first like 1 to 2 hours of the game, and you're still wondering like, who the heck was Roxas this entire time? But wait, you might have remembered. Do you remember who one of those members of Organization 13 was? It was Roxas. Okay, so probably now this I think they do explain it at this point in the game. It's time to explain things. Who's ready for explanations? Okay, so remember in Kingdom Hearts 1 when Sora stabbed himself with the dark Keyblade and his heart got turned into a Heartless, right? He got turned into like this edgy, like, I don't know, almost like bug-like thing. Looks like something like this. Well, you see, what I mentioned earlier is that when a heart is split like that, it actually splits not into just a Heartless, but the body must also become something else. And so the body became its own thing, a nobody. And Sora's nobody was actually Roxas this entire time. That's right. Roxas was never a real person. He was a creation of Sora's memories in a way, right? So that's the body. That's Roxas. Roxas was actually, oh, hold on. And it's really obvious when you look at it, Roxas, right? Wait, hold on. Let me write it out better. Roxas. If you just rearrange the letters, you get Sora, because they had to put the X in the name. So, you know, crazy, right? And that's why Roxas this entire time was Sora's nobody. And by Roxas sacrificing himself because Sora's Heartless was already defeated or kind of fixed, then Sora could become whole again and gain his memories back and become whole. And so Sora could be a person again. Okay, that was literally, like, this is a huge amount of lore done for the first hour of the game. I'm not even joking. Like, they do a lot here. And so that's the story of Roxas, at least for this part of the game. Trust me, he's actually way more plot relevant than you would think. Okay, so Sora, Donald, and Goober are perfectly functioning human beings again, or dog and duck and all this other stuff, and they're going on their merry way. And they basically go about and they go explore different... Oh, I think they meet Yen Sid now, right? Is that what happens in Kingdom Hearts 2? I'm trying to remember specifically. I think Kingdom Hearts 2, they awaken with... Oh, right. Here's the other thing, too. These guys have no memory of anything that happened in the chain of memories. Like, their memories have just been completely wiped clean of chain of memories. Which is really funny. So... Anyways, that's kind of sad. Anyways, these guys are on a mission. Their mission is to find Riku, find Mickey, and that's basically it. That's like their whole goal. It's like find these two plot characters, Mickey and Riku. So they go off and they go fight these mysterious creatures, the same one that Roxas was fighting, that were all like spindly and all this stuff, and they're called nobodies. And that's right, you've run into these things. By the way, each of these things have their own crests. So the easiest way to tell which one's what's a nobody and what's a heartless, I'll tell you the easiest way. The nobodies, their color scheme is white. Okay. The heartless, their color scheme is, I don't know how to describe this, it's black. With maybe, okay, maybe let me rephrase this. So technically the nobodies have like a color scheme of like white with very like light blues, like gray blues. And the heartless, their color scheme is like a very like black with purple and reds. Also, I just realized I was drawing this on the wrong layer this whole time, which is really annoying. So now I gotta dump these onto a new layer again. So I'm gonna cut and paste, and then I can hide this. Oh no, I was doing this correctly. I'm a fool. Okay, so wait, if I hide this. Oh no, I did have to do that. Okay, so okay, let me redo this again. I gotta hide this. We're gonna grab this, cut and paste. Okay, then I can hide this one, perfect, and then this one's clean. Okay, good. So that is the first hour and a half, maybe 2 hours of the game. And essentially what happens now is these guys go meet Yen Sid. They go to like a place called Yen. They go meet a dude, you know, a really old bearded dude. He's got like a really long beard that kind of goes down to the floor, but he's got like a really cool hat like Donald does, but it's his like really big and full of stars because he's old and wizened, and he's called Yen Sid from Disney's Fantasia. Yes, this is Yen Sid, which, if you didn't know, is technically an anagram for Disney, because he's named after the Disney Disney man. Yeah, so he even makes an appearance, and he basically tells Sora, like, hey, dude, you gotta learn how to use the Keyblade better, brother, and tries to kind of point them in the right direction of where to go. Because essentially Mickey was taught by Yen Sid, and now Yen Sid's teaching Mickey or Sora on how to not suck with the Keyblade. And also, for whatever reason, you run into like the two major Disney villains that will pop up a lot more often. You're gonna run into, God, I don't know how to draw him, but I think he looks like this. You're gonna run into Pete. That just looks like Winnie the Pooh, but pretend it's Pete. And you're gonna run into, I don't know how to draw her, but I think it looks something like, she's got like really spiky things like this. And I think she's got like a big evil crown. And you run into Pete and Maleficent are your two main. Yeah, it's literally, Yen Sid is just Disney backwards. I don't know how to spell Maleficent. These are the two main Disney villains who are actually bad guys that are going to be constantly showing up in the plot line, and they're basically just constantly getting in the way of of the main characters. By the way, I completely forgot to mention this, but Maleficent does show up in Kingdom Hearts 1. I think Pete does too. But Maleficent gets murked. And I think Pete just gets kind of like Team Rocket's blasting off away, and then they just like once you reach Castle Oblivion. Where's Hades? He does actually show up, and he's actually like a major character in the Olympus arc. Okay, so anyways, basically Yensid tells Sora, Donald, and Goofy, hey, go visit the various Disney worlds and Disney properties because you gotta go protect them from the Heartless and the Nobodies, and then eventually you'll get more plot. So yeah, that's essentially what happens. I cannot remember the exact world order, but I can tell you at the very least, you do go into the Aladdin world. You go into Peter Pan, I think. You go into the Mulan world for some, you know, Mulan, who's not a Disney princess according to this game. You also go into Hercules. Where else do you go to? I'm trying to remember what else. There's like a bunch of other worlds that like are completely irrelevant and they don't really matter. The only world that does ultimately matter, the main worlds that actually matter in this game are Hollow Bastion and Twilight Town. And you find out that what's it called, doesn't exist. Traverse Town is not a thing you can visit anymore. Traverse Town is gone. That's right. It's just not there anymore. I think it's actually Hollow Bastion, not Hallowed Bastion. I think I've been spelling it wrong the whole time. Hollow Bastion. Okay, so let's go over these worlds one at a time real quick, because we're gonna talk about how these are plot relevant. Okay. Yeah, Shang is actually the princess. That's so true, according to various things that people write about Mulan. Okay, so essentially what happens is that you go travel to these different realms and you go fight a bunch of the Organization 13 members. Like Org 13 shows up, you know, the people in the mysterious hood that say 13, and Sora just kind of beats them up a bunch of times until they kind of go away. And at some point you run into Axel again, who's like, hey, yo, fam, I'm here to turn your heart to the darkness. Axel this whole time is just like, you gotta, hey, brother, got it memorized? Want to become a heartless? Because Axel's entire shtick for this entire game, right, the reason why he's so interested, and you learn this throughout the game, the whole reason why Axel is so desperate to get Sora to turn to darkness is because he wants Sora to turn back into a Heartless. Because if Sora turns into a Heartless, do you want to know who comes back? Did I destroy the drawing? Oh shit, I might have messed up. Where's the drawing? Because if Sora turns into a Heartless, ultimately what happens is Roxas comes back. That's right. He's Axel's entire shtick is that he wants his homie Roxas back from, I guess, wherever he went, from Sora's soul. And so that's why he's been like trying to edge Sora to being like, hey, turn to the darkness. And then he's like, ah, my homie's back. Yay. But Sora's like, no, I'd rather not. That's fine. Okay. A bunch of plot things happen. But essentially the main thing that you learn as you're fighting Heartless and Nobodies on every single world and whatnot is that you learn of the real Ansem. You see, there's a real cool dude whose name is Ansem, who is not the same person as Ansem from Kingdom Hearts 1. He is a completely different individual. And this Ansem wears a really cool lab coat, like me, because I'm awesome and lab coats are for cool people. You know what I'm talking about? So he's got a really cool lab coat and everything, and he's got really long blonde, like a light dusty blonde hair. I think it's more like platinum blonde. More like this. Oh, we're not even at Zemnis yet. No, I don't think Zemnis. We'll get to Zemnis at some point. Oh my gosh, I forgot how long this is. How long have I been at this? I've been at this for 2 hours, and I'm only on the second game. My God. Oh my Lord. We haven't even gotten to 358, and that's a whole nother can of worms. Oh, I guess technically it's the third game. Yes, that's true. Okay, so you find out that actually Hollow Bastion used to actually not be called Hollow Bastion. A bunch of things happen. Sora goes and murks like 1,000 of those little bug-eyed goobers in the battle. I think it's actually literally called the Battle of 100 Heartless. And so Sora kills like 1,000 of these things with a bunch of fancy commands, and you find out that Hollow Bastion used to not be called Hollow Bastion. So Ansem the Wise, as he's called, used to rule over Hollow Bastion back when it was called Radiant Gardens. And once you do a bunch of stuff and you help, fix Hollow Bastion, it becomes what's now called Radiant Gardens. And then you find out then you get massive plot dumps for the next 3 fucking hours. I'm not even joking. There is just so much plot dumping. Okay, so here's essentially what happens. Okay, so, oh, should I do this all on the wrong layer again? Okay. All right, you're gonna love this. Okay, you're gonna love this convolution. Okay. Let me copy this. Dump this real quick. Okay. Let me hide this layer. Oh my goodness, it's not. Oh my Lord. Sorry, I'm just trying to move these layers around. Okay. All right, strap on in. So, do you remember Ansem, Seeker of Darkness? Okay, so let me see if I can explain this in the best way possible. So, you essentially have Ansem, who we're gonna call Seeker of Darkness SD. That's generally what he's called in everything, okay? And then you have a character named Zemnis, who is, if you remember, number 1 of Organization 13. So what actually happens that you find out is that Ansem the Seeker of Darkness is actually a Heartless, as we all know. And Zemnis, as we all know, is I'm gonna do an upside down person for a nobody. I think that's actually their symbol anyways. Is actually a nobody. Simple enough, easy to understand. I think the Heartless logo has like an X through the heart, so I guess we'll draw that. But you actually find out that these are the Heartless. Essentially what was happening is that Ansem was researching hearts, and he had a bunch of apprentices, and one of those apprentices was called oh god, how do I spell this name again? Xehanort. Okay, Xehanort, I think is how you spell it. Xehanort. There's no H. Xehanort. Okay, so Xehanort was one of Ansem the Wise's apprentices, and he essentially, with the study of into hearts, he split himself into the Heartless form and the Nobody form, which ultimately became Zemnis and Ansem the Seeker of Darkness. Essentially, Ansem Seeker of Darkness stole his master's name, and Zemnis is, if you haven't figured it out by now, more or less a rearranging of some of those letters. Because I don't know how to tell you this, but like Ansem, you can rearrange to Zemnis and just throw that X in there. Just, as usual, that's just how it works. Like that. So, what does this all mean? Okay, so what this all means ultimately is that Ansem Seeker of Darkness is dead. This man's gone, right? So in order to get Xehanort whole again, you gotta go kill Zemnis. of Organization 13, and he now becomes the main villain of the game at this point. I believe he takes over as the main villain. Xemnas is your primary antag, and he basically, like a lot of the he basically looks like a tanned. He basically looks like Ansem Secret Darkness from the game 1, but he's just like way edgier because he's got this really sick trench coat thing that all the Organization 13 members have. You know, the one that looks kind of like this. And he's just like, yes, darkness, 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 my heart, 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 darkness, darkness, darkness. And he's also got like super long hair that's just like super sick. That's pink. It should be more gray. And he's like this, and he's just like, I will reach Kingdom Hearts, Kingdom Hearts. No, he does not turn into a flesh boat, but he does turn into a boat, and I will get there. I'm not joking. He does turn into a boat. Okay, so here's your main villain. His name is Xemnas. Is like his bumping? Yeah, it's I don't know, some version of Kingdom Hearts. Okay. Of Dearly Beloved. Okay, so this is your main guy. You essentially go fight a bunch of things in you also learn that there's actually 2 Twilight Towns. Yes, the thing I'm drinking is like 6%, but it's been heavily diluted with water. Okay, and I'm also not drinking that much. I'm drinking like half a bottle, which is a very, very limited amount. It's a very, very limited amount. Trust me on that. I'm not gonna drink that much. Okay. So, God, where was I at with this? Because now I'm like losing my train of thought here. Okay. It's diluted because I pour it over ice. I pour it over ice. Okay, so thank you, second Twilight. So you actually learned that there were 2 Twilight Towns. That's right. There was what's called Digital Twilight Town, which is like, you know, let's just draw this real fast. Yeah, so there's Twilight Town 1, and then there's Twilight Town 2. There is a real Twilight Town and the Digital Twilight Town, because what actually happened is that Digital Twilight Town, which is this one here, which we're gonna just surround in blue, was actually a creation on Diz's computer. Remember the weird mummy guy from game 1? That's right, he's got a really big supercomputer that's in Hollow Bastion, and he uses that to essentially run a simulated VR system for Roxas. In order to control Roxas, he yeets Roxas from the real world, digitizing him, and shoves Roxas inside of Digital Twilight Town. I'm not joking. This is actually the plot of what's happening. And then that entire sequence that took place at the beginning of the game was actually in Digital Twilight Town the whole time. It was all fake. See, what ends up happening now is Sora, Donald, and Goofy go visit the real Twilight Town, and we're just like, whoa, what's going on here? When it's like, and then you meet the friends that Roxas had from Digital Twilight Town, and they're just like, hey, we don't know who you are, but we feel like we have a connection in our hearts, because they're, I guess, the heart of Sora, which contains Roxas, is reaching out to his friends that he never really met, because they were all the ones he met were digital copies, but I guess their souls can somehow communicate with each other through that transcends space-time, and, you know, even meeting each other in the first place. Very weird. Yes, Roxas was an NFT the entire time. And then I don't know what else happens over here, but it's not really relevant. But Twilight Town becomes Super Twilight Town, or sorry, yeah. And you kind of revisit it. You find a bunch of other things. You go see the actual mansion and all that stuff. Great stuff. And then we enter the final area, which, oh my god, this is so edgy. Okay, so you enter you enter the headquarters of of Organization 13, which was not actually Castle Oblivion. Castle Oblivion was just a place they did things. Their actual base of operations, and I'm gonna draw this really poorly because I'm not really good at drawing things. And it's mostly like, it's very blocky anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Sora, Donald, and Goofy. Oh, by the way, Mickey Mouse shows up a couple times in this plot line, which I can't remember what he does, but he's there a whole bunch of times, and he's like infiltrating Organization 13, and dons on an Organization 13 hoodie, and he has like one of the best lines I've ever heard in a video game that's just completely out of left field. Let me see if I can find it, because I think it's really funny. He has a line where he's like, yeah, Mickey Mouse comes in, says a slur, and leaves. No, he says, Mickey... let's see if I can find it. Oh, here we go. Yeah, I found the line. He has this wonderful line, and it's just it's completely nonsense.
No. But...
because they're at this point in the game, they're trying to look for...
Say, fellas, did somebody mention the door to darkness?
Mickey just comes in with this ominous face and is like, we're talking about the door to darkness? Say, fellas, did somebody mention the door to darkness? Okay. It is such a completely out of left field entrance. It's really funny. It's funnier when you see it in context, but I promise it's funny. Okay. So, Sora Company and Sora, Donald, and Goofy go to this place which... oh yeah, there's a giant heart in the background, like that looks like Kingdom Hearts, I think. I'm not really gonna draw. I'm not very good at drawing it, so I think I'll try my best to draw it. Kind of looks like this, and it's very spooky. This final world, this is the real name, is called the world that never was. And I'll be honest, if you're a middle schooler or just like a chuny, this naming goes hard. It's like, whoa, a world that never was? This place was never was, but it is currently. How could this be? What does that mean? Whoa, it's so cool. God, this game, the more I think about it, this game's naming is just completely off the rails. Okay, but essentially, it is the headquarters for the nobody, so I think every enemy you fight here is a nobody. Right? So you go beat up a bunch of the, Sora, Donald, and Goofy go murk a bunch of the Org 13 members a bunch of times. And they all pull out their funny gimmick attacks. Like one of them has like, oh, I use cards, I use a giant sword, I use a gun. Or Epcot. I mean, to be fair, Tomorrowland kind of, yeah, it's like Tomorrowland or Epcot, but it's like way edgier and more descriptive. So that's why it was called the world that never was, because this world should not exist, essentially, is probably the best way to describe it. So you go around their floating fortress and you beat a bunch of, okay, keep in mind, you're defeating them, which means you're destroying the nobody, and that's relevant for later. Remember, you're defeating a bunch of the nobodies. Okay. And then eventually, they eventually reach the top of like the world that never was. So who do they find at the top of world that never was? Okay, so you find out Diz, remember the weird zombie fellow, the weird mummified guy from earlier, who's just like, hey, I've got a cool computer and I'm mysterious, but I'm here to help you out on your journey and help Riku control the darkness. It turns out Diz this entire time was Ansem the Wise in disguise. Ooh. With his cool lab coat, he pulls out his lab coat and he's like, man, I'm so cool. God, my drawings are probably the worst thing ever. And he's like, yeah, I'm Ansem the Wise, and it would be unwise to mess with Ansem the Wise, or something stupid like that. This is entrance. Okay. Also, Mickey Mouse is here too for some reason. Because he's been like, Mickey Mouse this entire time has been like helping out Ansem, like, infiltrate Organization 13. I do not know how to draw these stupid ears, by the way. That's probably close enough. Okay. Just notice there's trumpet cover, simple and clean. Yeah, it was. Okay. So these three, oh, and then Riku shows up too at some point. Like, Riku's like, hey, I'm here, fam, and I'm here to go beat up the darkness, which I lost the original Riku that I drew, and I don't know where to find it anymore. That's unfortunate. I don't know where the Riku went. I have so many weird drawings. I cannot find it. Okay, anyways, Riku also joins the wacky trio, or I guess the team. Right, so Riku's here, sporting like a new look. He's no longer super edgy, but he's still kind of like an edgelord. And he's just like, I've learned to control the darkness in my heart, Sora. And I'm here to help you because we're friends and friendship never ends. And so, and this is actually super relevant because what ends up happening is they go fight Ansem, who I want to say, sorry, they fight Xemnas. They're fighting remember, the villain is Xemnas. Okay, and I think his fight is like 4 stages long. I think if you were to do it like normally on your first playthrough, the whole thing takes like an hour. And it's really dumb. So I think I'm trying to remember how many stages there were to fight him. I want to say it's 4 stages. Yeah, I think it's 4 stages. So you fight him in you fight him in his normal form, right? Where he's got like, hey, I've got like my super cool edge cloak thing. Just gonna use this gray color. Oh wait, we gotta give him like the tan face. Yeah, like here's Xemnas, right? So this is the first phase. You gotta fight him here, and he's like he's such like an edgelord. By the way, his weapons, I'm not even joking, are dual laser blades. So he's got like, I don't know, imagine like this. Imagine these are his arms, and he's just got like these laser blades popping out of his hands, like they're lightsabers. That's his weapon of choice. Yeah, he's basically got lightsabers. Okay. So that, what'd I do? Oopsies. Okay. So that's phase 1, and then you fight phase. Oh, hold on. Oh my god, I remember this now. Okay, this is phase 1. Okay, phase 2, if I remember correctly, is, I want to say, armored controller. Yeah, so in phase 2, he basically becomes like this gigantic suit of, like a giant suit of like fuck off armor, that's like sitting on a giant throne. I don't remember how it looks exactly, but imagine just like, I don't know, imagine like a very bulky looking creature thing like this, I guess. He's sitting on a throne, and he's got like a giant sword and everything, and he's probably got a crown. Yeah, it's like Arthas from Wrath of the Lich King. That's a very good way to describe it. By the way, in this form, he uses a big old sword, but the sword is so edgy that, let's see, that it essentially takes the shape of like the nobody symbol, which kind of looks like a cross in a way. I can't remember exactly how it looks. I want to say it looks something like this. And then like a really big pointy arrow up here for some reason. I think it's like what I think it was. I want to say it almost like reminded me like a fleur-de-lis, but I cannot remember. Something like that. Okay, so this is phase 2. He's a giant armor. Okay, I was joking. I wish I wasn't joking about this, but phase 3, he turns into a boat. I don't have any art of this, but I remember correctly. I think he turns into no, I think it was a boat, wasn't it? Was it a boat or a dragon? I want to say it was a boat. Hold on, is there a video of it? Here we go. I think I found a video of it. Let me take a look. I'm pretty sure it was a boat. Okay, whatever. We'll just say he turns into a boat. Okay, and then you have like the boat section is like a rail shooter section, which is really annoying. And he's just like, I'm gonna go smack you. And then you fight his final form, where it basically looks like this one here, but he swaps out the black and white, or the mono black coat for like a black and white coat, because he's showing like, oh, I am like the confluence of light and darkness or something like that. He's such an edgelord. I will say, this fight in the game is probably one of the coolest fights in like anime fighting game type aesthetics. I'm just gonna show you a clip of it real quick. Xemnas final fight. Well, let me just show you what the fight looks like if you ever plan on fighting it. It's super cinematic. Like, this dude has so much aura that all he does is, like, he just warps around and beats you up, and you do have to fight with Riku. Like, you don't have Donald and Goofy. It's Sora and Riku working together to defeat Xemnas. And look at all the warping around and all the teamwork attacks and, you know, spinning around. This game is a very floaty game is all I'll say. But if you love looking at just visuals like this, it's really fun. And you can see, yes, they work together. I think at some point Sora gets like knocked out temporarily, and Riku's gotta try to like rescue him. Like, I don't, this is like the entire, like, the whole fight is like this, and this is the final phase. And the music is super sick as it's going on too. I'll just skip to like some of the cool parts. I'm gonna show you like one of my favorite parts about this fight. So in at this point in the fight, you've already knocked him down, and so now Xemnas is about to use his super special attack, where he's going to summon a giant amount of laser, like a giant dome of lasers that are all gonna come after you. And in this point, you're just spamming this attack, this one specific button, so you can block all the attacks. It's so unnecessarily cool. Like, if you're a middle schooler or high schooler or you got Chuni, this stuff goes hard. And it just has so much it's just so much vibe to it, I guess is the best way to describe it. God, am I really gonna, I don't think I can get through the entire franchise in one night. I might have to do this. I might have to split this into a second stream at this point. So this essentially, yeah, is the like the final fight, and there's a lot of other cool sequences where you know, Sora, Riku have to work together, and they'll use each other's attacks and help work together. Yeah, oh yeah, this is with a Rumble controller too. If you had a Rumble controller, this was super peak. Exactly. Like, look how cool this is. Some Kirito Sword Art Online nonsense going on here. Yeah, so anyways, that's essentially how the fight goes. So you go beat up you go beat up Xemnas 4 times. Once as his normal form, once as his armored form, I think, once as a boat, and then once as his super cool edgelord form, which I think they actually I think this one's technically called final form. Each of these have different names. I think specifically they're called I want to say it's normal, armored, boat, or dragon, and then final. I call it boat. I don't think it's got a proper name, but that's kind of how it is. Okay. And then Ansem tries to do his thing where he's like, I want to open the door to darkness. I will not be stopped. And then he gets blasted away by the Kingdom Hearts, just like his regular version, like Ansem Seeker of Darkness did. And it's all very tragic for him. I accidentally turned off the music, so I need to find more music again. Let's see. This one. And then Sora seals Kingdom Hearts again, because that's the main plot of this thing. And then so, with Xemnas defeated, Sora, Donald, and Goofy, and I guess Kairi, who is a character again, who, by the way, as Kairi was awake this entire time, she's been fine, for the most part. Kairi's just like, hey, I'm actually alive. And Riku also kind of come back to Destiny Islands, and they're just like, hey, we're finally home, we can all relax together, hooray! And everyone lived happily ever after, except then a mysterious bottle, I remember specifically, washes up on the shores of Destiny Islands. I don't know how to draw a bottle, apparently. Something like this. And it has like a mysterious message from King Mickey, and it's just like, what's going on? And then that's where it cuts to black, and then you have to play the next game. Actually, one thing I forgot to mention about all these games is that every single game has like a true ending, essentially. Like, if you play the game a certain way, which is either clear the game on the hardest difficulty, or collect all 100 Dalmatians, or all 99 Dalmatians and a bunch of other stuff, you unlock bonus movies. And these bonus movies were like teaser trailers, or technically concept films for the franchise, and they were some of the coolest things I'd ever seen when I was a kid. So for example, Final Fantasy or Kingdom Hearts 1 secret ending. It was so cool. Yeah, like imagine playing Kingdom Hearts and you had a 5-minute teaser movie just for doing everything that you can do in the game, and it basically just leads into like so much edgy stuff. Like, look at this. We see a rainy field, a city, darkness, hooded cloaks. Who is this mysterious person? What is this mysterious tower with TVs? Oh wait, there's another. Look at all these Heartless. I'm not gonna show you the whole video, but you at least get the idea that seeing this for the first time in like on a PlayStation 2. By the way, this specific trailer was only available in the Japanese version because the Japanese version had Final Mix. You did not have Final Mix in the US until 1.5 HD remix came out. Otherwise, this was basically restricted to Japan only for like the longest time, and people were hyper theory crafting on internet forums when this came out because of all this stuff. Like, see, where's Sora? And then you see like all these like weird words flying around and everything, and everyone started like trying to decipher what all this could possibly mean. And then also, yeah, you run into like a really sick fight sequence too. Hold on. Like, look at this. Like, who is this mysterious person who's using 2 Keyblades to fight off all these Heartless? And if you were an astute observer, which I didn't explain this at all because it's not really relevant, but he's using 2 very specific Keyblades. He is using 2 Keyblades that are important to the story. One is called Oblivion, and the other is called Oathkeeper. And you find out later that this man in this trailer is Roxas. No, this actually does appear. So this movie actually gets turned into a gameplay sequence in 358 over 2 days, which does not look nearly as cool, but when you're watching a FMV like this, it's probably like one of the sickest things you'll ever see back when this was happening. Because like, oh, look at this, they're counting down from 13 to 1. What could this all mean? What do the numbers mean, Mason? And all this while, like a super sick dramatic soundtrack, Kingdom Hearts soundtrack is playing. And so I remember a long time ago, like everyone was like theory crafting about like what could all this possibly mean, because it was like, whoa, it's so cool. And it's like, oh, like who's like, what do you mean? Where's Sora? What's happening? And all this stuff. Because you have to remember, this is like really early into the franchise, and so this more or less was like a concept movie. And if it wasn't obvious, the blinded folded person is Riku. So I'm gonna tell you right now, the people you're meeting are Riku and Roxas as they're fighting. So this actually does take place. I'll show you the scene. I'll show you the actual gameplay clip that it gets turned into. Roxas versus Riku. So it gets turned into a fight scene in 358 over 2 days, which I'm gonna talk about now. I guess I'll talk about 358 over 2 days. When Aqua, oh my gosh, we're not even anywhere near the Aqua part yet. Okay, so that entire sequence gets turned into this fight, which is, remember, this is a DS game. Okay, I need to emphasize. So it's not the prettiest thing. He's running around fighting Heartless just like in the little trailer bit, but there's not nearly that many Heartless. I have no idea how this game really played on the DS because I didn't own this game on the DS. I've seen clips of it, but I never really played it proper. But there is a lot. They did turn this game into a ton of cutscenes, so if you wanted to rewatch the cutscenes, you could experience it that way. Yeah, I heard the gameplay wasn't boring.
Why do you have the Keyblade?
But yeah, see, like here's like some cutscenes essentially. Like this is from the HD cutscene remaster, so you can see, hey, what's actually happening here. And I think they do turn the giant run down the thing fight. Hold on, or maybe not. I can't find it. Oh yeah, you fight Riku here, see? So this is what that cutscene gets turned into. Not very exciting, but hey, you know, you're working with a video game that with very limited resources on a DS of all things.
Why do you have the Keyblade?
So anyways, that's Kingdom Hearts 2. A very poorly described summary. Am I over explaining, or do you want even more nonsense explanations? Because oh boy, I guess we should talk about 358 over 2 days. I think I'll do 358 over... I think the official pronunciation is 358 over 2 days. Is the technical correct pronunciation. Okay. I gotta pee. Let me pee. Let me stretch. I did tell you about how Diz was Ansem. Diz was Ansem this entire time. Do you want me to go over how Ansem wasn't Ansem the whole time, and you want me to go explain the whole world that never was, and the whole like, oh, Ansem was not Ansem but was actually stealing the Ansem name, but was actually the heartless of a man named Xehanort, who becomes super relevant soon enough? Okay, let me let this music play. Let's see. Oh, let's see. Kingdom Hearts battle music. Probably a good way to do it. Wait, was Christopher Lee in this? I cannot... Oh, was he Diz? I actually can't... Was he actually Diz? Oh, he was Ansem the Wise. Yeah, okay, that makes a lot of sense. Holy cow, I completely forgot about that. Wow, I completely forgot that he was Diz. That's really funny. I will probably... Okay, so it's 9:50, which means I would technically stream for another hour, 10 minutes. I think what I'll do is I'll explain 358 over 2 days, and then I'll stop. But let me pee. I gotta pee. Okay. So, let me go pee. You can listen to this cool, hype, and epic Kingdom Hearts battle music playlist while I, use the restroom. Let me prep a new folder real quick so we can keep talking about this. A-R-B. Next. 3-5. Let's see. The next one we're gonna talk about is 358 over 2 days. Okay, I'll be right back. I don't know how to mute my microphone. I can't reach it. gosh, I forgot how loud the music was. I'm so sorry. All right, let's go talk about 358 over 2 days, which is a game that exists that I didn't play myself personally, but I'm aware of the plot beats because you eventually learn all the plot beats no matter what. What layer did I draw this cage to on? Because I do not know. What the heck layer is this? What in the world? Oh, I must have drawn on the wrong layer. Okay. Anyways, comrades, I'm back. Let's go slam out the last bit of this ridiculous experience. All right. So, 358 over 2 days is a game that primarily takes place. Okay, so here, let me do this. Let me do this real quick. So, one thing to keep in mind is that here's a quick reminder of. Oh shoot, this thing died. Okay. So, real quick, as a reminder, how much sake did they drink? They didn't drink nearly enough. I need more drunken nonsense coming out of them. Okay, so as a reminder, Kingdom Hearts 1 leads into Chain of Memories, and Chain of Memories leads into Kingdom Hearts 2. However, Kingdom Hearts 1, Chain of Memories actually runs parallel to 358 over 2 days. So these two are concurrent with each other, and they both lead into Kingdom Hearts 2. It is essentially a prequel coming out after the original game to explore more of the plot beats that were not super well explained. So essentially, while the way this works is that, remember, while Riku, while Riku and Sora and company are over here in Chain of Memories land, right? The main protagonist of Chain of Memories, or of 358 over 2 days, which is the game we're talking about right now, the main protagonist for this one is actually Roxas, and I mean the real Roxas, as in not like the fake out protagonist like in the first one. This is just straight up, it's Roxas. Essentially what happens is that after Kingdom Hearts 1, when Sora made his nobody, made his heartless and his nobody, Roxas is the nobody who awakens, but Roxas more or less just has no memory of who he is, right? He is just like, what in the world is happening here? And he doesn't know. He has no name. He doesn't know anything. And so they don't know what's going on with him. However, Roxas is a really cool nobody because he's the only nobody that they know of that can wield the Keyblade, or a Keyblade. And so they're going to, so Xemnas shows up and he's just like, hey brother, welcome to Organization 13, and we're gonna call you Roxas. And this is Xemnas. Okay, so that's essentially the main initial story beat plot. You're having Sephiroth flashbacks? Oh, trust me, me too. I heard it, and I immediately started oh god, it's happening again. So Xemnas ultimately recruits Roxas into Organization 13, and the general plot beat of this, what happens in 358 over 2 days. Oh shoot, I didn't mean to erase that. Roxas essentially goes around with his really cool Organization 13 buddies, right? Let's see here. And he's got his Keyblade and everything, but he makes specific friends with 2 Organization 13 members in particular. There is a girl named Xion, right? And then there's the big guy, Axel, who become his bestest friends, and they share ice cream together a lot while sitting around in Twilight Town, because that's what homies do. They eat ice cream, and specifically they love eating sea salt ice cream, which is a flavor that I guess exists that I've never personally tried myself, but apparently that's what they consume. Yeah, so here's Axel with his edgy hair, and here's our main characters again. So here's Roxas, Xion, and Axel. And remember, they have numbers. Roxas is number 13, Xion is number 14, which is really weird, and I don't remember Axel's number specifically, is what I'm running into the problem. Let me double check his number real quick. Axel is number 8. Okay. So essentially, this game kind of, I guess, would the best way to describe it would be like kind of like Monster Hunter in a way, where you essentially go on a bunch of like random side quests or hunts, and you eventually start to progress the story. Now, a lot of these side missions don't really matter too much. A lot of the big thing is you're making friends and learning about the Organization 13, and a lot of them will pop in and out of the story because for whatever reason, a lot of them are going to and from Castle Oblivion, like a lot, and that's like a big major part of the storyline here is like, hey, yeah, so anyways, we're hanging around, but also Castle Oblivion is a thing that we have to keep paying attention to. And Axel is included in one of that. And so that's fine, and then eventually, I think Axel also ends up over in Castle Oblivion as part of like his mission with the organization. So he's like, all right, I guess I'm going to Castle Oblivion now. See you guys later, or smell you later, or whatever he says. I think he says like got it memorized or whatever. That's his catchphrase. So then you find, so remember, Roxas is the only one who can use a Keyblade, right? That's really cool. Wow, he's so awesome. He's the only one who can do this. Oh wait, you find out Xion can also use a Keyblade. She's really cool too. Why is that? Why can two people use a Keyblade? That's so weird. Two nobodies using a Keyblade? That seems impossible. By the way, this entire time, Xion's face has been basically obscured by her hood. No one knows what she really looks like. She's just been hooded the entire time. But eventually, she kind of starts to look like a girl who, weirdly enough, looks a lot like a Naminé, like Kairi, but with black hair, right? Anyways, a bunch of stuff happens. They deepen their friendship with one another over the course of this plot line. And remember, this game came out on the DS. I need to emphasize that again because this game is so odd. What's what I'm thinking of? But as the story progresses, you find out something really weird about Xion. Xion's appearance actually changes. Xion's appearance changes depending on who's looking at her, if that makes sense. For example, I think one character looks at Xion and sees a character named Ventus. Roxas sees a black-haired Kairi, more or less. Other people, I think one other person just sees Riku, for example. Doesn't Naminé look like a blonde Kairi? Yeah, there's a lot of like similar lookalikes, which is really weird. So it's like, okay, why does everyone see Xion differently depending on who's actually looking at her? It's super weird, and no one really knows why. Oh yeah, the other thing sometimes is that if you really have no idea, some people just see her as just like a giant, like as a black hooded figure, and that's about it. It really depends on who's looking at Xion. Her whole existence seems kind of whack. So, what you ultimately find out is that Xion is a backup. Xion, this whole time, I'm just gonna draw stick figures. I don't want to keep drawing this. Xion was a backup for Organization 13 in case Roxas, for whatever reason, is not cooperative with the organization's plans. That is Xion's whole existence here. Because they need a Keyblade wielder in their ranks. And so what they did was Xion is a clone of Roxas. Okay, clone. Who you have to remember, Roxas is a nobody of Sora. Okay. See where this gets a little muddy? So it's a clone of a person who's half of another person. And so the entire time of what's happening here is the reason why Sora was in Castle Oblivion, right? So remember how Sora's in Castle Oblivion? Those memories of Sora. Okay, like all these, I don't know how to draw a brain at this point. Let's see, is this good enough to be a brain? All those memories were being put into Xion so that she could become Sora, like a backup Sora, in a way. And so the reason why Roxas sees Shion like a dark-haired Kairi is because the memories that Sora has is being used to give Shion an appearance. Do you remember that one anime recap that used recolored Ayanami rays for the 3 girls? I mean, it's very accurate. God, I should probably watch some recaps of this. And so that's why Shion has a different look, because everyone sees her differently depending on who's looking at her. Okay, and then at some point we get to the final part of the game, and what ultimately happens is Shion eventually starts to look like Sora, because I guess she's more adapting to Sora's memories or something like that. And so hold on. So you have Shion, who now looks like Sora, and so they have a epic clash, you know, Keyblade versus Keyblade type deal. Hold on. With Roxas, who's like, no, you're still my friend and I will not abandon you. But then, you know, eventually Shion realizes, well, I guess I'm basically dead now, so goodbye. And then so she lets herself be absorbed into Roxas so that Roxas can be, I guess, I'm trying to remember specifically. I think what it was is that Shion has a crisis of not faith, but I guess of herself. She realizes she's not really a real person, and so she chooses to provoke Roxas to fight so that Roxas can kill her more or less, right? And so what ends up happening is that Shion lets herself be killed by Roxas and gets absorbed by Roxas to be inside. And then this is unironically where Roxas now gets the ability to wield 2 Keyblades. By absorbing Shion, Roxas goes from just wielding 1 Keyblade to being able to wield 2 Keyblades. That's right. He's now such an anime protagonist. He now gets 2 Keyblades because he's essentially wielding now Shion's Keyblade, and that's why he's able to use 2 of them. Right, and he's specifically using Oblivion and Oathkeeper because, you know, that's like the light and darkness one that everyone's really into. And so that's kind of what happens. Yeah, he basically turns into Kirito. So again, this is still Roxas. And then you get to that scene earlier where it's now, okay, so now you have the Royal Rumble of Roxas versus, you know, blindfolded Riku. Hold on, can I draw blindfolded Riku? Yeah, you have Roxas fight blindfolded Riku. And but Riku has his like own weird sword, although it's not really like I don't think he's using like Keyblade. I think he's using like a weird dark sword thing, but he's also using like dark magic, and he at some point transforms into like Ansem, Seeker of Darkness. Yeah, close enough. You know, it's close enough. He's an edgelord. Okay. However, the winner ultimately ends up being Riku. That's right, Riku beats the ever-loving daylights out of Roxas. And then for more or less what happens, Roxas gets taken by Diz, right? Remember Diz? Remember Diz from earlier? Yeah. And then basically yeets Roxas into his computer, right? He's just like, okay, welcome to my server farm. We're gonna turn you into an NFT, and then at this point the game leads into the opening scenes of Kingdom Hearts 2. This entire time everyone's forgetting about Shion. Like, Shion stops existing essentially in the hearts of the characters. She's no longer really there. Like, everyone can't really remember her because her existence was never real, and so she no longer exists. And Shion is one of those interesting characters because she is a character that, for whatever reason, I knew multiple Filipino girls when I was in school who cosplayed as her. Specifically her, because it was like the easiest thing for any like tomboyish girl with somewhat short hair to cosplay as. I'm not even joking, it's super easy. How do I remember these? Because my brain can store many bits of information. Instead of storing something useful, it instead stores the entire plotline of Kingdom Hearts and the entire type chart of Pokemon. let me just show you what Xion actually looks like instead of just seeing the really bad thing. A lot of I knew multiple people who like to cosplay Xion because I guess she was like such an easy quote-unquote waifu character to just kind of cosplay as. Short hair, very slender frame, etc. Cool aesthetic, whatever you want to call it, very tomboyish. And there's like a bajillion like fan arts of Xion because like, oh my gosh, she's so cool. Look at that, wow. And so she was like really popular as a character for people to kind of cosplay as because, hey, look, a lot of characters in Kingdom Hearts have really wacky hair colors sometimes, and she's probably like the only one who's like, oh, you can just use your natural black hair color. Wow, crazy. And so that's the story of 358 over 2 days. Yeah, Roxas is sentenced to mine Bitcoin until Sora's memories are fixed and all that. I need to emphasize something. Remember that that chart that we were at earlier, if I can find it? Remember the let's see, did I save it? Oh yeah, here we go. Remember this chart of the games? Need to point something out to you real quick. So, we have done Kingdom Hearts 1, we have done Chain of Memories, we have done 2, and we have done 358 over 2 days. There are still 6 more titles on this list. We're not halfway done. There are still 3 more titles. Oh, I completely forgot about Kingdom Hearts 3. There's actually an extension to this called hold on, I completely forgot. There's another extension to this called Remind, which it's actually spelled RE:mind, which is like another bit of a plot line that we're not gonna get into right now. Yeah, no, we haven't gotten to Dreaming World, we haven't gotten to the time travel, we haven't gotten to the Keyblade, which is spelled with an X. That's right, we haven't even explored Xehanort, we haven't explored Terranhort, we haven't explored Aqua, we haven't explored Nording, we haven't explored a lot of these other weirdly specific bits and pieces of story that is just completely nonsensical, but is like necessary to fully understand this stupid franchise. I love Kingdom Hearts. It's so stupid, but it's so much fun to me, and I love playing it. The story is fun. I might need to replay it again at some point, and obviously there's a lot of other things we're missing. I don't think I have the energy in me to keep talking about this story right now. I think I'm kind of reaching my upper limit in how much more insanity I'm able to withstand. So I think what I'll do is maybe we'll leave this for another day, maybe a few weeks from now, maybe not next week immediately, because I'm going to be traveling, obviously. But we might visit this again in the future one of these days, but maybe not today. I think I need a break, and I'm also kind of hungry, so I think I'll just raid Falu today. But I hope you at least enjoyed our 3-hour semi-dive into Kingdom Hearts lore. This is not the end, and there's a lot of things I skipped over, like oh god, I don't even know. There's a lot of things I have skipped over, like how Minnie Mouse is a somewhat plot relevant character, some of the ducks, Huey, Dewey, and Louie are also like in the games as well. The secret bosses like Sephiroth and all that. So we'll replay. God, I really should replay the games, shouldn't I? I don't own it on Steam. I only own it on PS4, but I might buy it on Steam so I can have it on my Steam Deck at some point. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed. I do recommend playing Kingdom Hearts if you ever get an opportunity to do so, because it's a lot of fun. Tomorrow, Fire Emblem. We're going to continue the Fire Emblem adventure. Let's see if we can chip away at it and almost be free from the Fire Emblem run. Say hi to Falu. She's playing RimWorld. Good night. Goodbye.